Do you want to be a part of the CoCo community? Sure, we all do. So join this free weekly live talk show to find out how easy it is to watch at home and learn about your color computer. At the CoCoNation, more than 9 million men and women have participated in the community without setting foot outside their homes. And now at home in your spare time, you can see what's happening, or even join the discussion. Choose from any one of these segments: panel intros, project updates, acquisitions, CoCo thoughts, featured interviews and events, the Game On Challenge, news, Ron's Garage, CoCo commercials, show coverage, panel goodbyes, or you can join one of our extra shows. You can choose from the Game On Challenge Live or CoCoTech. Join the CoCoNation right now.
Click the link for the free information TJB Chris spoke about. Then decide if you want to watch the CoCoNation Live Show, the world's leading live weekly talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, its siblings, cousins, and red-headed stepchildren. Visit thecoconation.com. There is no obligation, and no salesman will visit you. Visit thecoconation.com.
The CoCoNation show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCoNation show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCoNation.
Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I had to go get rid of a cat. Welcome to the CoCoNation Show, episode 252. How's everybody today?
Isn't it 352?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, 352.
Don't worry.
That's how it's going today. Yep.
It's really tough.
Circling backwards.
No. Enjoy the rerun. See you guys.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, it's correct on the screen there, so just my note was off.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let's see. Who we
Yeah.
got with us today? Let's see. Top corner, yours truly, who pushes all the wrong buttons.
And wrong announcements.
The wrong announcements. Let's see. Next up, Marco.
Hey, glad to be here.
And you got your audio board fixed.
Yep, got the right buttons pushed in the right order. Thank you, Kat.
Cat rearranged the audio buttons for you. All
Cat
right.
problems.
L. Curtis Boyle. How you doing?
Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hey, we got Ron Delveaux.
Welcome from the ranch out here in Arizona.
Okay. And Kevin Holloway.
And you're muted, Kevin.
You're muted.
You've never
Well-
sounded better.
Must be windy.
Okay. Maybe that's good.
All right. Let's see. Rick Euland.
Feeling more centrist today. Howdy, folks.
And we got Grant Leedy.
Hello, everybody.
And Nick Marentes.
Hey everyone, not on the bottom of the list this time.
Oh,
But
not
it
this
is
time.
tomorrow where you are, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And next row we got Terry Steege.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
And Ken Waters.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, Bob Emery.
Hello and welcome. Greetings.
And Jason the Coco Man.
Hello, hello. It's time to follow your fun compass pointing towards the CoCoNation. And just remember, you can't spell fun compass without compass.
And we got Frederic Sagard.
Hello, hello. I wish I had such a radio voice.
So do I.
Well, this
Yeah,
is a
me
TV
too.
voice now.
So do
I mean, I wish I had a radio voice.
You've all graduated. This is TV.
My radio career lasted about a week.
Yeah. I have a voice for print.
That's worse.
Yeah. I've heard it said, you have people have a great face for radio.
Yeah. I have a voice
So-
for newspaper.
So, all right. And last but not least, we have Brian Wiesler.
Hello, guys.
All right. Let's see who we got up here in the chat today. Scroll. We've got Rick Cario, Wayne, Kevin Holloway, Wayne Campbell, Marco, CRT, Sixy, Carrie Shug, Coco Living, Ryo, Jim Rye, that's right. Tim Franklin, TJB Chris, Wayne, CA, Mark Siegel, how you doing? Tom Eric Gunderson, Eric Rangel, anonymous Facebook user, Eric Canales, Eric Rangel again. Okay, that's everybody up in the chat. All right. First up today, special event happening today, the virtual CoCoFest. Mark, you want to give us some highlights on that, and what do we get to look forward to?
Okay, well, I did post some stuff on the CoCo Discord, but I probably should stick those out on Facebook as well. I got a few people. Unfortunately, there were a bunch of people that actually initially said they would commit and then they weren't able to because something or another came up. But I do have 7 events. The first one will be right after our the CoCoNation stream today with Thomas Cherry Holmes about the FujiNet adapter for the CoCo, and probably FujiNet in general for those of you who aren't aware of its background. And probably we'll talk about Play-Doh also in Rada Online, which is where he kind of started with all this stuff.
And that's today at what time?
I have it scheduled for 4 hours after we start here. So in about 4 hours from now or 5 hours from now. So I'll post the list up. Do we have that on the calendar? I'm sure I do.
I'm just about bringing up the calendar here.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Split screen it with you. There you
So
go.
Marco's planning for a short show. It's only 4 hours.
We've been keeping it around 4 hours the last few weeks, so I don't think it'll be hard. Anyway, so that's the only thing for today with the virtual fest. But tomorrow, starting at what will be, I guess it'll be 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. my time, and 1400 UTC.
And the calendar you see on the screen is in Central Time Zone.
Okay, so tomorrow morning and afternoon for those of you in the UK, we'll have a Julian Brown, the guy who's doing the Dragon 32 recreation board and lots of other cool hardware for the Dragon and potentially the CoCo. We'll have an hour with him to talk about his stuff. It'll be pretty cool. The hour after that, I'll be filling in for an hour, probably on something I'm working on. Taking a little break, and then afternoon time for the US and Canada. I'm going to be having Paul Fiscarelli talk about his projects, like his color computer spike compiler. And then I believe I have Brett Gordon, who's actually done a lot of different projects for the CoCo, including porting Fusix and the Play-Doh terminal for the CoCo3. And let's see, who do I have after him? I believe it's
a slot 3. Don't we have Paul Fiscarelli and floppy disks?
Yeah, floppy disks and Grease Weasel. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, he's going to talk about that.
Ooh.
So, learn all about backing up your images and stuff. I should be doing this with a script rather than off the top of my head. So.
Why be prepared? That's not how we do it here.
I know.
Preparation. What's that?
And even the scripts let you down.
Yeah, that's true. You read the wrong one. Okay, let me see if I pull up the reminder here. It's on this monitor way over on the left for me. Okay, so Paul Fiscarelli and then Brett Gordon and his different projects. I know he's a couple we talked about that he'd bring up. I've been involved with him for the last couple of years, so I'm pretty knowledgeable on all that stuff. So Thomas Shanks, it's a good friend of William Strickland. He's working on a project called CoPico, which uses a Pico, Raspberry Pi Pico on a board for the CoCo, and I believe it has networking and some other potential. So it'll be his presentation. And then after that, I have Rick Ulan slotted in with his CoCo IO and the stuff he's working on that. So we got a couple networking ones there at the end of the day. So these are all the people I could get shoehorned into various slots and commit to showing up.
And what time did the afternoon presentation start? Pick a time zone.
Yeah, so Eastern Time Zone will be 3:30. That's 15:30.
So what time is that in Guam?
What time is that in Guam? I think you're going to have to add 12.
Early the next morning, yeah.
I apologize for those viewers in Guam. Wait a minute, I don't think we have any.
And is it every hour after that, or is there some gaps in there too?
No, basically it's just 4 of them in a row. So 1 hour each. So 4 hour block.
Cool. So 4 hours in a row of CoCo goodness. It'll almost be like a CoCoNation show.
Exactly.
Except the quality will probably be higher.
Hey, except information.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, off the top of your head there. Yep.
I forgot to add mine slot in there. I'll have to update the calendar here for my slot right after Julian. So anyway, 7 of them total.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes.
Speaking of Julian's actually in the chat too.
Count
He
them.
should be.
7.
Exactly. Count. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. So after the 8 a.m. that's showing on the list here, there is another one. That's the one you're going to be doing, Mark,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
shove that in here once I get logged into the right calendar.
Okay.
Oh, I got 3 monitors and it's really easy to get lost, So anyway, first world problems. Anyway, that's it. Virtual Fest is happening. I really like what's happening, even though I only got a few people. We're going to promote this probably in about 6 months for doing this again next year, probably the same time. See if we can get a few more people to get committed and show up.
So I believe in Discord, in the Glenside channel, there's a link to that particular calendar.
There should be, and there's also a list of the various people and kind of discussion, but I'll post that on Facebook as well in the various groups. So.
If we can, if you guys have time to sometime today, maybe also put links. I think there might be one on the CoCoNation show already, but we also one on Glenn's side too, since they're kind of helping sponsor the event too. So
I'll stick them all on all of them. So
yeah, because some people don't, aren't on Discord or aren't on Facebook, so you want to try to spread as much as you can.
I can understand the Facebook, but Discord? Everybody should be on Discord.
I know of several people that aren't, so
Discord,
I think Discord might share your information too much, so they refuse.
Yeah, I mean, there's really just some people who strictly just use email. So
yeah, like the list. The list actually post on the list too, Mark. That's actually a good point. Thanks, Grant.
I'll see if I can figure out which of my email accounts associated with that list, the Tandy list. Or the,
yeah, I still don't feel bad. I've yet been approved to get on the list yet, so I gave up on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've set it up several times and just never get approved.
Do it again, and then just tell me when you do it, and I'll talk to Dennis.
Okay, no problem.
Who runs the list? Have they met you, Grant? Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe Dennis knows you.
Thanks, Jason.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Coming to Chronicles, the chat says email. What's that?
I think Jason's table just got moved to the hallway.
Well, as long as it's not in the men's room.
Yeah, or to a parking lot. You can use one of those old couches we saw at the previous CoCoFest there.
I think they might be a little soggy now.
All right, next up, I believe we have Brian Wiesler to make a bit of a presentation.
Are you ready, Brian, or should we do some other things first? You're muted.
Muted.
You never sounded better, Brian.
I can go now if you guys want me to.
Okay, I didn't know if you were ready, so.
Okay. First of all, so last week, we had Tim and Alan and Mark Siegel on, and we were showing you the ROMs with the Deluxe and some of the commands that have been discovered and what their syntax was. We're just going to give a little update on another one here that Curtis was looking at, plus a little video here. So I'm going to play this video first. I'll share that, and we can talk about that, and then we'll show the other thing here. So let me do a little screen share here. Where's my button? Okay, that should be coming through.
Not so far.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to hit one more button. And there.
I know the feeling.
There you go. That better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys are not looking through blue shaded glasses.
Feels so blue.
There was and step in here anytime, Curtis, and correct me here. There's what they call a phase shift option that was on the Deluxe there that was handled through some I think a chip and some other components on there. But when this poke was put in there, this poke HFF 30,136, it does this phase shift, and I wish I could give you guys some video to actually see it live, but unfortunately through the RGB to HDMI adapter, it doesn't pick up on this because the RGB to HDMI is tapping in right to the VDG, and it's the signal.
Yeah, the phase shift circuitry is past the VDG before it hits the monitor or
correct.
RF, so
yep. So a flat screen TV that I had there plugged in to channel 4, it does pick up this. I'm suspecting that composite would, but on this particular Deluxe, the composite doesn't appear to be working. Either it wasn't working or there's a component, but I haven't. That's just a road I have not gone down yet. But I did capture a little video on my phone here, so I'll play this real quick. It's real short. It's only about 4 seconds. There's not a whole lot to see other than what we're seeing here, but you can still see the cursor, but it's kind of these shades of, how would you say? It looks like shades of blue, basically.
Yeah, that's what was documented for micro and stuff. It's basically a phase shift from green to blue, which was supposed to be a bit easier on the eyes. So if you do this poke or Osstein level 1 for the Deluxe also have this enabled by default, so that if you boot it up, you'd get this dark blue text on a light blue background versus the green, which like I said, people thought looked better than the green. But you could do both. You could switch between them.
Right.
Now, is the cursor not flashing all the colors? It's just flashing black, or
That's the way
the Deluxe.
The Deluxe does that. It's just a black cursor blinking.
Unless you're in the terminal, then it's blue.
My eye doctor says that green is much better for you than blue.
Well, then I guess you probably shouldn't have a Deluxe, Ron. So we
because the last time I got
what else wouldn't I have?
Well, I know. I'm just saying we probably should. I'm just being funny.
Yeah, well, the last time I got a pair of glasses, they wanted me to do like a blue light filter coating on them, so
you don't see blue.
Yeah, the blue light that's emitted from the LCD screens and stuff. So
that's when it's supposed to keep you up at night, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I program, so I'm up all night anyway. This is perfect.
I have to wonder if maybe they were also planning for a potential a Smurfs game on the Deluxe CoCo.
Now, one thing we haven't experimented with yet, but we will soon, is to see, does it phase shift all the colors, even artifacting colors, so that they're different too? We don't know yet.
So
and I will mention, Commodore Chronicles has a good point here. It says, if you're colorblind, this is completely irrelevant. And that's right, because blue-green colorblindness is one of the common ones, and you can't tell the difference.
Right.
Oh, I thought it was red-green. Huh?
Actually, it's red-green or blue-yellow.
So when this shifts, it doesn't actually go to this wide screen, right? That's just a anomaly of the TV
display.
Yes.
Probably.
It wouldn't shift any wider than normal, right?
No. Right. Yeah. It's just shifting the colors as far as the phase of the color, the color signal.
Yeah, I see what Ron's saying. That could be because it's a flat screen, wide screen, that maybe it's the TV is stretching the picture a little bit.
640 by 480.
Yeah.
Well,
this is
some,
just
Yeah, 16:9 versus 4:3, basically, so it's stretching it.
Yeah.
Just like all old people use when they're watching the shopping channel.
Right. So we this was kind of cool. I was seeing this for little blips every once in a while when I would turn this thing on before I got a little more stable than it is now. I would see this flash of blue for about 1/10 of a second, and then it would go to the green. And so we knew it was in there, but it just wasn't. I think did Tim narrow down this?
Yeah, there's certain like that control register, the option control register, it's called, has a whole bunch of things. It has an alternative 60 hertz interrupt signal that you can enable, disable. You can enable, disable the cartridge interrupt. You can enable, disable the special 16K mini MMU mapping thingy. So we basically had to make sure all the bits are set exactly right so it doesn't crash BASIC, which is actually tied into all those things.
So okay, I'll go ahead and turn this off, and now I'll switch here. So excuse the little bit of the garbage along the side there. I could run this thing through. Let's see here. Maybe I might be able to improve that just a little bit here. Give me 1 second. I'll just do this real quick, guys.
Yeah, and Jason, here you can see the black cursor a lot clearer, I think, which kind of mimics the dragon, actually, because that's what it had, was a black. I kind of miss the rotating color one, to be honest.
Just give this a second here. I'm just going to run this through a calibration real quick, and it might clean that up a little bit. We're not going to do too much here, but it might be kind of nice to see it a little bit clearer.
Did you say, Mark, that Mark Siegel's in the chat today?
Yeah, it was in there.
Yeah, if he can explain what the decision making was between switching from the color rotating cursor through to just a black and green blinking one, or the blue and green on the terminal program. I don't know if we ever asked him exactly why they chose that.
So that's a little bit clearer for you guys. You can still see some black sparklies there. So the screen command, is that what we wanted to talk about here, Curtis? Yep. So there's a command here that Curtis had kind of dug into last night, early this morning. And let's see here. It was screen comma 1.
-1.
That's one of the that was one of the commands here. So if you type in this here, you really don't see too much. But if I do a shift 0, which on the T1 VDG, you get the true lowercase. This here, I just have to do that screen -1 command, and it enables the true lowercase. And this was kind of cool. If I do screen, I just thought this was interesting, and maybe this is something that's common within the CoCo itself. But if I do screen 1, which takes it back to the default, no, what was it? Wasn't the screen
0.
1? Screen 0.
Screen 1 is the alternate color set.
That's right. so screen 0, boom, on the fly, it reverts everything back to the blocky with the blocks and the uppercase. So I thought that was kind of I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting, but
and for you basic programmers are familiar with the screen command, there's 2 parameters you can do. You can optionally skip the first one if you want. There's traditionally there's 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 is what we've had up until now, and basically that picks whether you're in a graphics or text mode, and then which color set 0, 1, which on a text mode is either green or orange, and on P modes it's white or green as your border and backdrop color, no matter what mode you're in. So this one added in the negative one as an option to switch it to true lowercase on the text selection.
Was this the little program that we did this morning to get that the colors?
I think so.
Oh, I know it was 1, comma.
Oh wait, yeah, 1, comma.
Was it
1, comma 1?
Was it
or color set 1?
And in the chat, Mark makes the comment: the final version should have been the multicolor cursor.
Oh,
okay. So maybe
That
they just
we're
didn't
all
get that
familiar
far there.
with.
No, that's not it. What did we do?
Oh,
That
0,
was-
comma 1. Sorry.
0, 1? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Might as well go up there and edit it. Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen last week's show, you can
Right.
have a screen editor.
Yeah.
You have to move to the end of the line, or can you just press enter in the middle?
Why is it not?
Yeah, just like what Mark said. You have to hit enter at the end of that line, otherwise it doesn't take as a completed edit.
Boy, it doesn't like this. It
Hit
locks
break.
it up hard. I am. It doesn't like that.
Type screen 0 blind. Okay, never mind.
For that.
No, see, it did a hard lock here. This is the goofiness that it does here. So, okay, we're going off and back on again. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, screen 0, comma 1 should give you the inverse video and orange.
There we go.
And that works on a standard CoCo 1 or 2 of the regular VDG as well, or the CoCo3 for that matter.
Yep. So that was kind of neat.
And if
Was
you
there anything?
the color poke, what color does it change to?
Sorry, what?
If you change the do that color poke,
Oh, the phase shift?
the phase shift, yeah, what color is it then?
Yeah, that's a cool question.
I only have cool questions.
Eric Rangel asked, why does screen 9 say Microsoft?
That's one of their little Easter eggs.
Oh, does it do it on the Deluxe as well?
Oh, what did I miss here?
No, CLS9 on the Deluxe actually does a cold reset. That we think that's a bug in the early version of the ROM. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, so I just did this.
Yeah, we won't see it because it's not on the
we won't
RF
see it 'cause
screen.
We're on the RF screen here.
You can
So-
tell us about it.
Yeah, I could. Oh shoot! I forgot to bring that upstairs here with me. Sorry about that. I forgot to grab the TV. I was going to do that so I could have it sitting here next to me and I could describe it. I guess I'll have to post something out on the Deluxe Discord channel. I can post a picture out there for it. So, okay, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else we wanted to mention?
We're still delving in. Like we still have to figure out like what commands and what protocols, et cetera, if any, the terminal program supports. We still have to dig in that. But this actually I got clued in because I was talking to Mark Siegel. I said there must be some way to enable the lowercase or to switch back to the inverse video if you have a game that required the inverse video, like some of the old strategy war games used inverted arrows as trees and stuff. I said, there's got to be some way to do it without having to poke everything around. And he said, yeah, there was a command built in, but he couldn't remember what it was. So, but he thought he was pretty sure it was a screen command. So then I went and took a look, and yeah, he was right.
There it was.
So that means I'm going to have to we have to not only look at all the new keywords they've added into BASIC, which Tim and I have both been working on, Tim more so than me, but we have to start going through the old ones to see what other extra options they added in that we don't know about yet.
And I was playing with the terminal program this morning, just on a very basic level, and I connected a null modem cable to the 9-pin serial, and then went to a serial to USB adapter on my laptop, and I was able to type characters on the CoCo, and they would appear on the desktop or on my computer there. So we got that going, but obviously it's not a full terminal type host, so there'll be more to work on there. So. But I do have some other things I can share with you guys, though. Some acquisition type stuff.
Surprise, surprise. Go ahead.
I am so shocked.
I know. Well, if you guys want to chat amongst yourself for a minute, I just need to move this out of the way. So,
yeah, I can make a quick announcement real quick. If
yeah,
we're just gonna kill some time here. Let me turn on my video here real quick. Just want to let everybody to know that I have just posted the t-shirts designs for the 2024 CoCoFest t-shirt on the website now. So you can go to glensideccc.myspreadshop.com.
Were you going to show us that?
Sure, I guess I can. If you don't, I'm not going to mess up your screen sharing or anything. Am I, Brian?
No. It's not currently sharing.
He's not sharing right now, so go ahead.
Yeah, so you're good.
Well, maybe not. Maybe I won't be able to do it. Can you pull it up there, Brian?
Or Mark?
Mark?
Yeah, I can.
Brian's getting ready for his other presentation. So
No, I meant Mark. I was looking at Brian though. For some reason, it's not letting me switch.
I thought it's just because you haven't been in so long, you've forgotten who everybody is. I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness! Really, Curtis? Feel the love in here today. Thanks, Curtis.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem, Greg.
Today is Grant Appreciation Day here on the CoCoNation show.
And while we're waiting for Mark to bring that up, the other
It is
announcement too. Oh, okay. Thank you. And the other announcement too I would like to make is the tables for the overflow room have now been posted on the attendee list site. So if you would like to move from the main ballroom over into the overflow room, just shoot me an email. I'll get that changed for you. Or if you would like to have a table and couldn't get one because everything was filled up in the main room, now we have we have 9 tables available in the overflow room. So
and for those who are wondering why we've added the overflow as well as the hallway, some people are concerned with stuff, getting lifted or have to drag their stuff and lock it up every night. So this way, that whole room can be locked up separately, just like the main hall, so that you can be a bit more safe with your equipment and stuff that you bring.
Exactly. And then also too, if you want a place to call home, the hallway tables will probably be a great spot for that as well too. So the tables are the same price as in the ballroom. They're $30 a piece. And you can register for those at attendeelist.com. And again, if you want to move your tables around from like the main ballroom to the overflow room or to the hallway, just shoot me an email and I'll get that changed in there for you. So other than that, we are down to, I think, 69 days. So we're getting closer, only a couple months away. So, but that's all I have right now.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update. Good to hear that you got that room, because we were talking about it before, and I think that'll put a lot of people's minds at ease if they're bringing a lot of stuff to show.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Grant, what was that URL again?
Which one, for the t-shirts?
Yeah.
It's glenside.ccc.myspread.com.
Can you post it up in the Discord, Facebook, and stuff too, Grant, just so people know where to look?
And actually, I'm going to do that. I'm actually in the process of making the post right now on the website, which then will get spread out to everything else. But
I know, I think you mentioned last week there's some alternative designs people can pick from this year.
Yeah. There's 2 of them. One was done by Ron Delveaux, and the other one was done by Salvador Garcia.
So collect them all, get both.
Exactly. And there's also more things too than just t-shirts. So there's sweatshirts on there. There's water bottles, coffee mugs. I mean, there's several different things you can purchase. So if you're not big into t-shirts, yep. I think you can buy a face mask if you want.
How about tattooed cats, since everybody has a cat on the show? No, just kidding.
Well, actually, I have a dog, so.
Is that what that is?
We know you're rebellious.
That's a funny looking cat you have there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't realize we had all those different things available there, but yeah, I might have to actually be a bit picky in what I'm getting this year.
Yeah, and plus also we get a little bit of profit back for that, which that helps put on the show too. So it does go to a good cause.
We're a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
goes to a good cause to put on the CoCoFest.
Yeah,
When did that
CoCoFest is
happen?
a good cause. Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
because it is.
Have we waffled it long enough for you, Brian? Or are you still working on it?
I'm ready.
Here we go, a
Grant-
waffling.
Yeah, I
Grant
got stopped.
Grant was
I
able
got
to gas
stopped.
on long enough there. So, yep.
I got stopped with the monkey here.
Oh, monkey. How much for the monkey?
How much for the monkey? How much for your monkey?
You want to buy a monkey?
If you guys watch the Blues Brothers, that would be funny. Okay. So a topic of discussion. A topic of discussion.
You
that's
saw
been
Tim
going on
Franklin's
for-
comment, Mark?
Yes, I just did.
You want to?
For those who didn't see it in the chat there, Tim Franklin asked, did you see a jock strap?
Merch is merch.
Yeah, it's French.
Looking for a jock.
Merchandising.
Oh.
Merchandising.
Anyway, sort of derail you there, Brian.
No worries.
Do we have CoCoFest the flamethrower?
Or CoCoFest and not a flamethrower.
Okay.
Okay.
Brian, what you got?
Everybody limbered up now? Okay. So a topic of discussion that's been going on for the past several months is obviously Steve Bjork and his and the estate sale and some of the stuff going on around that, where there's been folks that have grabbed up some of the items and have been reselling and such. But there was a seller that I've been working with, and he's been very reasonable with me. And a couple items I have here were things that were on eBay. Most of this came from this one guy. So I wanted to share some of that stuff with you, that and some of this is things that you guys might have seen, but again, I guess it's from the Steve Bjork estate sale. So the first thing I was going to show you was this thing here. It was made by Speech Systems. Oops, let me switch screens here so you're not looking at my face. Oops.
That was still your face, man. What's the deal?
Talking and not thinking. There we go. Okay. Ooh, does that look blue to you guys or look purple?
Blue.
It's purple. So it's your crayon purple color there. Let me back this up just a smidgen. Oops. There we go. Okay, so it was I had never seen this one before. The Speech Systems, they made a precision time module, and it was in their regular case that you see everything that Speech Systems is. They had this case here, so whether there was the ears cartridge, the sound cartridges, no matter what cartridge they built, they seemed like they used the same case. There was just nothing.
Yeah,
in
well,
it.
considering how expensive it was to make molded cases back then, I can see them using one generic one for everything.
Sure. I went and took the screws out of this so we can kind of look inside here.
Is this just a cute way to say real-time clock?
Yes.
Ding, real-time clock.
Which
Everybody
chip
take
is
a
it
drink.
using?
There we go.
And now it's
Oh,
purple.
Beefy battery too. Keep
Yeah, so
that
it
time
has
for a while.
I think Eric Graveluk, or however you say his name, said had mentioned how we put all these chips in a big box when they're only this. You could probably use 1/7 the size of a board to put all that stuff on, huh?
Right.
Problem is buying boxes is expensive. If you already make something,
Yeah,
big,
especially
it's a
if you're
larger
paying for
size.
different moldings, that's really expensive. It's like
Plus, they had-
thousands of
they had-
dollars to make a molding back then.
And they had one blank board outline. Some guy with a ruler drew this in. So why make it any tighter than you have to?
Right.
And that way
fits
you can
in the
avoid
outline.
crosstalk.
It's kind of like some of these resistors. So you hardware guys out there, we're kind of used to these little brown ones like this, but I love those the older ones. I don't. Maybe it's just a higher wattage resistor, but the ones that are these brown, almost like a perfect tube.
Those are carbon composite. So that's
Mhm.
just a slug of carbon powder inside
Okay.
that brown.
Yeah.
And the other ones are wire round.
Wire
And I
round.
think
Yeah, there you go.
that odd one there, I think also is maybe has a higher tolerance or low. It's
Right, 20%. Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere near
20%.
that.
Is,
Which ones make smoke?
Right.
Well,
they all do.
I have a bunch of those from like my dad's electronic stuff after he stopped that kind of stuff, and I have a ton of 2.2K resistors like that.
Okay. Yeah.
They all make smoke if you apply enough voltage.
Okay.
Yes, they will.
Absolutely.
Oh, David
yeah.
Lord in the chat is saying this one is more accurate than a mirror real-time clock. So does this actually have programmable timer interrupts and stuff too?
I'd have to look at there was no software that came with it though, but in the manual they do have several different basic programs that you could type in to set the clock.
Atomic clock.
So that's that Motorola timer, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a crystal and some little circuitry over here.
This Motorola chip right here in the middle, the big one, that's that precision timer thing. Cool.
So what is that chip like? Does it give you like 100th or 1,000th of a second timing or something?
It came up on Facebook or somewhere just the last couple of days. Yeah, it's a really precision timer chip, so you can.
So is it actually a real-time clock, or is it just a precision timer clock?
I would assume once
with the battery, once you set the time, you set the time.
What does it say specifically on the cover there, Brian?
It would be accurate to say yes.
Oh, just quality real-time clock for the.
Yeah.
Right. Are the rest of the
old battery?
Just glue logic?
But I don't know if this thing is. I don't know if he bought this and never used it, because this manual has. I think I don't think it's been vented. It's nearly like it is. It's like nearly perfect here. Yeah, there's 3 programs in the back there. Setting the time, but it even has
well, setting the time means it does have real-time clock functions then, but it sounds like it might also have a programmable timer, kind of like the Gimme has.
Well, that was the whole point of the big battery is once you set the time, your timer will just keep it forever. So
you said this came from the Steve Bjork stuff? Or is it somebody else's?
Well, there was I think there's been like 3 or 4 different buyers out there that picked up stuff from there.
Yeah,
the initial thing, and then who knows where it's kind of spread out from there.
That was cool.
You're thinking this came from
Mark first, then Rick.
Yeah,
I was just saying, you think this came from Steve Bjork's estate, though, right?
That's what the seller claimed, and it was with some other stuff that also had his
name on it, or
name on the mailing labels and things like that and stuff. So
in Steve Bjork's stuff he's been doing in the last few years, he's doing animatronics and animation, control systems. And so this is the exact type of thing you'd want to have if you wanted to have your CoCo control some sort of event.
That's right. Yeah. I can't remember the name of his company, but he was running a company that would with Christmas tree lights or light control systems or something like that.
Wee Little Talker, basically animated.
He called his company. It was called Haunt Hackers.
Right, Haunt Hackers. Yep.
I got a question.
So how does this vary from the Zisto time clock, real-time clock?
The other clocks that we normally talk about here are just basically to keep track of the date and time, and they're maybe accurate to 1/60th or 1/100th of a second. It sounds like this can be much more precise. And like I said, it might have a timer interrupt it can trigger where you can actually almost duplicate the Gimme's timer function for stuff like background sound timing and stuff. I don't know for sure, though. We'd have to fully go through the manual to figure that out.
All right, who did I interrupt?
Frederic?
Will the documentation be posted on the CoCo archive? Curious to see the diagram.
I'll add it to my list of stuff to scan. I have so much stuff to scan. I need to take like a month. I have to take off like a month from work.
One of them high-speed scanner things, right?
Yep. Well, if my Powerball number.
You may have to bring some down to the fest and distribute to some of us to have more time to do it.
It did it again. When you put something white in the picture, the white balance is corrected and the manual cover becomes purple.
Yeah. So you take it off, it turns blue again. That's a hell of a palette swap you got going in real time.
Yeah, there you go. We thought it was just the CoCo. It's his whole world is shifting.
We could do this for the next 3 hours. Look at that.
Damn, our secret of how we got that blue screen of the CoCo's revealed here.
We got phase shifting going on. Yep, exactly.
So it's purple then?
Yeah, it is purple. Like back in schools, when you had the blue construction paper or the purple construction paper, it's that kind of purple sort of color. So then the next thing here was this game here, trivia and some, how would you pronounce that?
Significa?
I guess.
So what color?
I'm not familiar with this one.
Oh,
so
it just changed again.
Yep. So it is red. So, but I think it's
so
just
Modern Day Software. I recognize the company, but I don't remember this particular program.
Yeah, and so I think it's basically just a trivia game. Whoops, getting some crinkling going on here. Avoid the crinkles. not a whole lot to the manual, just a 2-page here. Manual we're playing is to correctly answer one question in each of the 9 categories. So I'm assuming it must present you with some categories, and you have to get one question right out of each of the 9 there. So just a trivia game. I haven't fired it up yet or anything like that. So again, this looks like it was brand new. So I don't know if, these were all just ones that he had from
new old
Yeah, he
stuff.
did like to support people in the CoCo community, so he would buy software sometimes if he really had no plans to ever use it.
The next thing here, and I shared this here about a month or so ago. So I had the Marty's Nightmare, and this one was actually signed by Steve and Marty. But he also had one that had the software and everything. So I took advantage of that and got the one with the software. I believe I had the disc that went with this one. I just haven't been able. I don't know if it got separated. So I got the matching disc now with that one. So
I'm sure it's right next to that other CoCo2 kit you have laying around somewhere.
Right.
And for those that aren't familiar with that game, that was a tribute to Marty Goodman that was sold, and he's programmed especially for the Atlanta CoCoFest in 1990, I believe.
Yeah,
maybe
I think
91.
so.
The next thing here is just some manuals. I don't have the software for it, so he just almost like threw these in though. But whoops, this was in there.
Yeah, that was a graphics editor similar to ColorMax and CoCoMax for the CoCo3 specifically, but actually used a PC mouse that Dave Dyes put up.
And then here was Mine Rescue. We've seen this one kind of popping up on eBay. People selling this one.
Yeah, I have this one too because Steve sold it directly with SRB software, so I bought it at CoCoFest.
Here's Warp Fighter 3D by Steve Bjork.
Did it include the glasses?
No, this is just this here. So
okay,
that's all I had. So
see, that one actually works with 3D glasses for those of you who haven't tried it before.
See, that's where I kind of wonder some of this stuff. If they go and here's some people that are not CoCo, they're just looking at an opportunity to grab some stuff and flip it. If they saw these 3D glasses and thought, "Oh, this is probably from a movie," and then tossed it, or something. So.
Well, Steve had the option of you being able to get the glasses from him directly, or if you already had some from magazines back in the day, that you would just use your own.
Here's another one we've been seeing popping up here, Bash.
Yep, that's kind of Arkanoid, but not quite fully Arkanoid.
So now this is interesting. So this one has been completely assembled. In other words, the top of the bag's folded over and it's stapled and the disc is in it.
Yep.
For the previous two, he'd gone as far as put the instructions in the bag, but he hadn't added the disc or stapled it shut yet.
Right.
So you have pre-production examples and one that actually got done.
And if it's here, is this one CoCo3 or is this any?
Yeah, it's both. Actually, it's just like the Arkanoid cartridge. It runs on both CoCo 1, 2 modes or CoCo3 mode.
The other thing we've seen a lot of Steve Bjork stuff, and he has that like gold black star label.
Yeah, I'll say Color Computer 1, 2, 3, or just 3, or yeah.
Yep. And then another one here, and I haven't quite figured this out yet. This one's still in the plastic.
Oh, cool. That's one of his first programs for the CoCo period.
SECC or SECS.
Dex. It was called that specifically for the pun.
Oh, okay. By Steve Bjork. And
yeah, this is one of the very first programs he ever did for Datasoft in early '81.
Okay. And I haven't quite.
And for that Deluxe CoCo, you've been demonstrating all the fancy screen editing.
Yep.
That's basically that in software for the CoCo 1.
Because it says the screen editor control developed for the color computer. One program provides you with high resolution graphics, the super utility of an advanced editor, and sophisticated character generation.
Now, this one is not on the archive, so I'd love to see the manual and the software for this one if you got.
Yeah,
it was meant for developers, and then it kind of once Extended Basic came out with the edit command, Steve and Datasoft basically quit selling it. So
it says it does say here requires a color computer 4K, 16K for others. So I'm assuming you could have ran this on a original CoCo 1 with just the basic 4K.
Yeah, you got extra features with 16K though.
Are you saying you're not going to open that up because it's sealed? No, he's hesitating. He's hesitating.
Now we need that scanned
do it
and
last,
uploaded.
You'll have years.
I'm sure he'll get a second one by then.
He's going.
Yeah, that's when I found advertised by Datasoft in I think it was the February or March 1981 Byte. It was the very first ad Datasoft did for the CoCo, and that was one of the programs in it.
Okay. And then here's a drive that he had. unfortunately, though, and I'm not sure how clear this is going to come, but you see these corners here? This was
Bent.
not packed. It was not packed well, and it cracked the faceplate. This won't even. This
Oh,
one
no.
closes. This one won't even. This one won't even. I think I got to get a disc in here. So kind of unfortunate. This got all kind of beat up, but this was in with the group of stuff. So it kind of makes me wonder: is this something that Steve Bjork used when sitting in front of his CoCo? So
Oh, you'll have to send that to me then.
yeah, that's the damaged one. Let's see here. And what else do I got here? Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to show was, so one of the things that we had talked about was Steve Bjork had done a couple repacks, right? CoCo3 repacks.
And CoCo2s, yeah.
Yep. And so this was actually on an eBay sell here. So let's see here. Let me zoom this out a little bit more.
That would be glue.
So there we go. Got it in screen there for you guys. Yeah. So this was out there, and it says bad keyboard. The label was off of it, and there was another one as well, and it kind of got me, but it said just the case only. So if I take the cover off here, you can see that all that's in here is the cord that was desoldered from the transformer, which is not even in here. This is just the cage that was in there, and just the keyboard. And so what kind of makes me wonder is, was this the machine that Steve Bjork took his motherboard out or the system board out to put into his repack?
Very well could be. And that's the one we believe was stolen from his storage unit that he mentioned before.
So there's, yeah, nothing. Yep. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. So got that. And then
let's see the bottom.
You want to see the bottom?
Yeah.
Nothing special. Just your
average,
the normal stuff there. Yep. No no unusual marks there. Then one other one here.
Power LED or something on the upper right.
Yeah. So kind of a similar situation here, and I got the screws out of this one. Whoops. Now this one here actually has this. Looks like it might have done like a keyboard extender on it.
It's a fake CoCo.
So this was here, there, and
so it's a FOCO.
Just a 9-pin DIN here. So I'm wondering if he just didn't do some sort of a keyboard, homemade keyboard extension. But again, there's no board in it, but it does have the.
Yeah, so there's a keyboard in a case on your desk, and then the repack.
Yeah, extended back, kind of like I can't remember who made the 3-foot extender and 6-foot extender cables, but people would just have the little ribbon cable coming out of the case and they'd sit on their couch with the keyboard in their lap.
Yeah, it's just like how I did it.
So that's a button.
It looks like he ground a hole in the back there.
Yeah.
Where your fingers sticking them.
No, those are the normal cut holes. This is where your composite would be in your cassette, your video and power and reset.
Yeah, the LED's new, obviously, which is probably a power on light.
Well, you need the power light because there's nothing else to let you know that you've forgotten left the computer on.
Right.
Except for that.
Yeah, it doesn't get hot anymore.
You're right.
There's no screen on that either.
Yep. So these two were listed as a package deal out there. These two cases there, but again, it just kind of makes me wonder if like one of these two wasn't the repack. I kind of lean more towards the first one I shared, only because the label's gone. And would he have taken that off?
Yeah, and probably put it on the tower case or whatever he had it in.
Put it on the tower case there. So anyway, so I thought I'd grab those there. I may try to reuse them in some way. You could. I do have a CoCo3 board that does not have a home a case for it, so I may put that.
Yeah, and if you upgrade it to 2 meg, you can get one of those new 2 meg replacement stickers and put one back on.
Put it right on there. So yeah.
Right up.
So anyway,
includes that.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Cloud9 includes that label if you get the RAM upgrade from them.
Oh, okay.
512 or 2 meg.
Okay,
and you'll
whichever one
need
you
a
get
keyboard fix from Wrek.
There you go. Yeah.
Buddy's gonna make a few bucks off of this one. Yeah.
That's right, buddy. Looking out for you, buddy.
Might need some type of display adapter too while you're at it.
Yeah, probably so.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Was these few items that I gotten, and I was it maybe about a month or so ago. We went through that whole big box of
Newsletters and stuff.
Newsletters and stuff like that, and that also came from the same seller. So this was just some other items. I didn't have these yet. These were in transit when I was sharing that on the show.
So that could be his handwriting right there.
That could be. Yep.
Oh, that'd be interesting. You've got to find some handwriting now.
Let's have it analyzed.
Get Sleuthy.
Let's send this out to the lab.
Let's see here.
We literally just had his autograph on the Marty's Nightmare. So,
well, you know what? Okay, so now see this B right there, where the bottom of the B is kind of more of an angle. Let's see here. Let me zoom this in just a little bit. So maybe you guys might be onto something here.
Enhance.
Right.
There we go.
So now turn it purple. No, just kidding.
Yeah. See how the bottom of the B there kind of goes kind of at a 45-degree angle?
Yeah, but the second B is fixed better.
Right. Maybe this B, I think the B's look different.
The signature, who knows? You need
it's also cursive versus regular
Exactly.
writing. So
I really think this has yet to be determined.
There you go. Bada bump.
You can cotton swab the keyboard for DNA.
Oh, God.
Time for another edition of Good Idea, Bad Idea.
Are we going to grow our own Steve Bjork or something now? Is that what
Make
you're
it clone.
Hey,
Make a Steve
neural
Bjork clone.
net.
So anyway, rest in peace, Steve. And here's some stuff that I'll get marked, and we'll probably share more. Won't maybe not this CoCoFest, but maybe a CoCoFest in the future. Maybe I can bring all this stuff for display.
yeah, you got enough to display at this one already. So
Right?
yeah,
That's all I have,
definitely.
gentlemen.
People be at the CoCoFest and just go visit Brian's booth. You can skip the rest of us. There's so much cool stuff. He's
Oh,
gonna
no. No, go around. Just please stop and introduce yourself if I've never met you. But get around to everybody.
And if you're Grant,
just hanging around in the bathroom and just live stream it. That's all.
Really?
and that's
Really?
that's where is that the overflow room where you need a plunger?
Keep it up, Jason. Keep it up.
That's what I'm here for, Grant.
Anyhow, I believe. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Brian.
Oh, and I do want to say, by the way, that was not a jock strap that we saw. It was a fanny pack.
That was bad.
Just up a little higher.
It just goes around on the other side, doesn't it? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I believe we had some other presentations too of acquisitions, etc. Correct, Mark?
Let's see. Frederic had something to talk about.
Sure. Oh, by the way, I got my tickets 2 days ago for my plane tickets to go to CoCoFest.
Awesome. We'll see you
I'm
there.
definitely going.
You're committed
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. So last week, I
Careful
told
using the
you-
word committed with us.
Those aren't fancy tickets; they're plain tickets.
And instead of getting a CoCoFest T-shirt, you get one of those special shirts that adds the no sleeves.
Yeah.
You know.
It's very fashionable.
Well, last week I talked to you about the simulation I did for the MMU, and I could swap between tasks 1 and 2 and whatnot. And now I've had this somebody named L. Curtis Boyle. I don't know. Not too sure about his name.
Some loser.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
told
you
me
gotta
that,
watch that guy.
It'd be really nice if we could actually have access to all 32 tasks. So I went into thinking and redesigned my thing, and actually in the simulation, it works. I can actually take the four bits that are unused on the task
Register
switching
select on the
bit.
gimme. Yeah.
There's 4 other bits. That makes a total of 32. So I'm able to swap between all 32 tasks now. And I'm actually assembling it right here. So this
Look at
is
that
the
wipe.
MMU portion.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Do it
look at
again.
that.
Do it
Can
again.
you do a star wipe too? That's awesome.
He's showing you like a 32 task MMU on a 609 board, and you guys are more concerned about the
Look
wipe.
at the
effect.
wipe, man.
Oh, it was really good.
You guys are on the wrong show, man.
Making me look bad.
Oh, there
Oh,
it goes.
look at that! Look at that effect. That just so much. I think you just blew the whole production budget for this entire year on that effect.
Are you going to be on the virtual CoCoFest?
We might as well just hand the show to Frederic now and just let him run the show from now on. So it has a professionalism that we lack.
Effect we have.
Yeah, so that's basically it's all next week. Probably I'll have it working.
What
I'll
else
be
you
able
got?
to show it off.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad you actually got that working. I know Jim Brain had tried doing something like that earlier, but I think there was some questions on how to actually change the MMU blocks for each task. That was a bit of an issue. And then, of course, people taking the time to write drivers. And at that time, I was busy so much. EOU to a real release.
We're losing Curtis.
Oh, nope.
Or is it me?
So
No,
that's Curtis.
It's Curtis.
It's
That
Curtis.
Damn Canadian internet.
Oh well, it's
It's
we do have sunspots.
you have to thaw
today.
out the internet lines.
There's sunspots out there that are causing havoc with communications.
That happened to
He's on
AT&T?
AT&T.
That's from the astronomy department of the CoCoNation.
It seems to be coming back now. Was that me that was having the problem? Because I saw a whole bunch of people go blank.
Yep,
you're fine.
Everybody pointed to you when you were gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't see it.
Because I was watching like the squares here. I was watching people just freeze or disappear completely, but others were still going. So I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Anyway, you're in the middle of saying something.
Yeah.
Did you check?
I believe you were cut off at blah 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 blah.
Oh, blah 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 blah. That's the finish of my speech and also Alex Lifeson's speech for when the band Rush got into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure Bob Emery knows that.
Indeed.
Okay. Anyone else have any project updates?
I think I could give you a little update here.
Yeah, I think Nick had one too, if I remember a little one. But Jason, you can go first.
If my update will cooperate, I'd like to have a little, not really an acquisition, but I did adopt another kitty here, and his name. He's being uncooperative right now. He doesn't want. Are you not ready for your close up?
One out.
Oh, but here's Buster. I'm just going to go ahead and let him do his thing there. I guess I interrupted some valuable. Is that a twisty tie you had down there, bud? There you are. Is that better?
So you have two now?
No, just one.
Okay.
No, my previous cat Rocky, who appeared on the previous iteration of this program, he passed away back in about mid of 22. So, but this little guy here's Buster, and so he's been walking on my keyboard and everything there, and but I adopted him about a month ago. I think it was over the Martin Luther King holiday. So, but obviously he has other important cat things to do right now, but. Yeah. There's the addition to the CoCoNation family with another Coco cat.
Hey,
Well,
that's
I just got a fresh
non-consensual
scratch.
cuddling if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, herding cats.
You know what? It's
That's
just,
the
it's just
show
like
in
any
general.
other cat. It just depends on their mood. And he was bugging me earlier when Brian was participating up on my lap, pay attention to me. But now he's got a twisty tie or something he's chasing around right now. So,
Sorry, Mark B, you were saying something too?
Yeah, I just got a fresh scratch today, just a minute ago.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I go on yesterday. It's on my finger right there.
She was rubbing her face on the keyboard, and that's not good when you're streaming live.
So my wife of 50 years asked me why the show goes so long.
Rabbit holes.
hey, I'm not really clear on this, Ron. But how long you been married?
50.
Crickets.
Anyhow, Nick Marentes, I believe you had a small update to do too, didn't you? Or
No, I didn't
something to
have
talk about?
one, no, I didn't have one.
I thought
So
you
his
said.
update is there's no update.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's right.
I thought there was something you said you were going to show that wasn't related to your game project, but
No, it wasn't me.
okay.
I have a real quick update if you guys want to see it. Obviously,
Oh,
I've
sure.
been sitting here working on it. I built myself another new keyboard here. The second one of Mr. Dave's boards. Got a real red break key this time. But more importantly, this keyboard has a win key. So Game on challenge. You guys better look out. All I have to
Oh,
do
geez. So just hit his win key
Win.
and we're all.
I want to go plug that into a slot machine at a casino now.
Right. And then I've been working on this little the USB keyboard adapter, so I'm still lacking a couple of minor parts, but
Nice.
hopefully next weekend I'll have this going.
And we'll get a
If I
further
can-
update on your joystick when we get to your video in the news too. So
Yep. That's
teaser.
mm-hmm. That's all I got for now.
Okay, cool. I think that's it for updates and acquisitions. Of course, if you want big updates, there'll be follow Mark and all the virtual CoCoFest, the one presentation this evening or afternoon, depending where you are, I guess, and then 4 in a row or 5 in a row tomorrow.
4 in a row, plus a couple in the morning. So
Okay, we're ready for our first break, and then game on results afterwards.
Sure.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Taylor. We're watching the CoCoNation show. Yeah, we are. Woo! You should too.
Hello everyone, it's your good buddy, your good pal Amigo, and joined by that dastardly The Brent from ARG Presents.
You're watching CoCoNation.
I feel like that should have been longer.
The CoCoNation show would like to thank the following patrons: Alex Gayer, Brendan Donahue, Brian Walsh, Brian Wiesler, Karen Askham, Coconut Bob, Daddy Burrito, David Ladd, Derek Smithson, Diego BF109, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Wabke, Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Kevin Holloway, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, R. Allen Murphy, Retro Tech Time, Rob Binman, Rocky Hill, Steve Batson, TJB Chris, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom S., and William Athing. Thank you so much, patrons.
Welcome to everybody's favorite segment, Who's New to Discord?
Nobody says, greetings and salutations. My name is Scott P., and back in the day within the CoCo community, I was known as Nobody, of the Nobody's Home bulletin board system in North Central Florida. Originally, I started computing on a TI-99 4A, then upgraded to a CoCo 1, 2, and 3, and from 16K basic up to 2 meg RAM, OS 9 level 2. Hello to all my old friends and acquaintances from the 20th century. I look forward to meeting you again. John S. says, to many in the CoCo community I require no introduction. I own Strongware, and I've been active in the CoCo community since the early days. Strongware had its Fest booth at the last annual CoCoFest. Strongware shared that booth with Sabitha. Before that, Eversoft published a few of my programs. In my day job I'm a senior software engineer. Besides software, I do some hardware designing, and 3D printing. Soulman PT says, I always wanted a CoCo3, but in 1989 I was in 6th grade, and my parents didn't trust computers back then. If I buy a disk drive for one computer, it won't work if we get a different one later. So I learned how to program from a book called How to Invent Your Own Computer Games. That seemed to be very computer agnostic. I finally got a computer a year later, when one of Dad's friends was throwing out a CoCo 2 and a computer cassette player. I'm Petey. BPU says, your name? Darren. Your systems? So far I have built various S100 boards, a ECB system from Retro Brew, and have bought and repaired a Casio PB100F and a TRS-80 color computer too. How do you retro? Build, fix, Try to make better and program. Where did you hear about us? Heard about the Discord channel from the CoCopedia site. Looking for? I want to discuss the same with other like-minded folk. The previous bios were edited for time. Thanks to Boysen, Glenside Computer Club, Micro Hobbyist Frederic, Paul Fiscarelli, Tandy Color Computer 3, and the CoCoNation patrons for boosting the server. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to read these bios in full and see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
See you on Discord.
Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video.
That is not the right one.
Brad.
This week we played Eliminator.
What happens when you don't come to rehearsal?
We had a total of 14 players.
Forgot to flip it over this morning.
They were Buck Owens with 830.
You can stop it.
It
There
was
we
nice
go.
seeing Buck Owens on the opposite side of the list.
Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video. This week we played King Tut. We had a total of 17 players. We had Mr. Dave 6309 with 6,000, Annie with 9,100, Mark O 19,300, Henry III 22,000, Mike 23,800, Low Level 29,400, Jim Rye 33,800, Sabhead 40,800, Sloopy Malibu 41,100, Dr. Ted, 42,600. Coconut Bob, 45,700. L. Curtis Boyle, 50,600. Shenley, 53,900. Canadian Retro Things, 56,300. Buck Owens, 74,300. Retro Rick, 87,500. And this week's number one score belongs to Tasman with 109,600. Thanks everybody that played. We'll see you again next week.
And the CoCoNation salutes Tasman.
Yeehaw!
Salute.
He's the Tasman. Hey, hey, me
So a
Tasman.
decisive win by Tasman.
Yeah, that's an impressive score.
That is a very impressive score. Although he said that once he beat level 5, it actually is quite easy to get a whole bunch more points going through the other levels. Yeah, so I looked for some reviews of this game. I found a lot of reviews for King Tut, but they were always a different game than this one. So none of those reviews count.
You didn't find any?
There's
I
a
couldn't
Steve
find
Markey
any, no.
song.
I found some for a basic King Tut game. And I found some for one that had all kinds of different treasures like diamonds and whatnot. So finding keys. So I'm going to guess that wasn't the game.
Oh, I could have sworn there was one. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of where everything is in every single magazine ever published like you, Curtis, but...
Well, I just used the rainbow index and then that extra index that I made of all the other magazines.
Well, I did too, but
so if you didn't find it, it's not there.
Wasn't listed. At least there's nothing listed as being a review.
That's too bad because it's actually quite a fun game. A little frustrating at times.
It can be, and few people complained about the hitbox on when you're going up against the King Tut ghost. I assumed that the hitbox could be whatever it is around a ghost because it could just scare you to death.
Yeah, because an invisible plasma that got you that time.
Yeah, you got slimed. That's what happened.
No, it's a good game. It's got 5 levels. The whole lighting system when your candle's running out, I thought it's cool. The fact you can go back and recharge it without having to, basically run out of the timer and basically die if you don't know where you are and where the ladders are. It means that you can go recharge it and kind of extend your life. The timer doesn't kill you off like a lot of games back then did. So I was pretty happy with it. It's a fun
And
little game.
thankfully, one of the things that I did like about it too is that when you pick up a treasure, and if you die on the way of bringing it back, the treasure stays where you died. It doesn't return to the spot where. So.
Especially if it's one of those really distant spots you have to go looping around tunnels and stuff to get to in the first place. Because if it went back there every time, I wouldn't play the game.
Yeah. That was always a frustrating thing in a lot of games where it would just reset everything. It's like, oh, come on, all that progress I made.
Yeah, exactly.
Did anybody else on the panel have anything to say about the game?
Bob, how was it without the win button?
Frustrating. I'll have to try it with the win button and see. I didn't
plus
try it with
plus your new joystick too, I guess.
Yeah, I've actually had a little bit of issues with it. It's one of the pots, I think it's the vertical one, kind of like loses contact and you'll suddenly find yourself going straight up or straight down, opposite to what you're holding the stick.
Yeah, that wouldn't work too well in King Tut at all.
No, it really works bad on Popstar, but.
Oh, and I see in the comments, Michael Zweifel is blaming his cold on why his score was only 23,800. Said it's a hard game to play when you have a cold.
Of course.
I will agree with that, actually, not being sarcastic, because if I'm really sick, I do crappy at games too.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, true.
And if you're not sick, you just pretend to be sick when you're doing crappy at a game.
I guess I'm always sick.
You're just sick, Mark. You're sick.
Yeah, Mark must be on death's door, I think. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody else in the panel? Give it a shot. I know famous game designer Nick Morantes never plays anybody else's game, so I'm sure he didn't try it.
No, I didn't.
Alas, I wasn't there.
You never tried the game at all during the 2 weeks?
No, the last week was my daughter was here, so forget that. And
well, you could have had her play too.
Yeah, right.
Come on, the color computer is fun for the whole family.
That's true.
You got to get the whole family involved in the Game On Challenge. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say about the game, but it's actually was quite an enjoyable game.
Yeah, if you haven't tried it yet, I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. It
wasn't
fun.
Some people didn't like it. Some people it wasn't their cup of tea, but I mean it's definitely in the kind of platformer style of game. So if you're more of a fan of the platform style arcade games like Donkey Kong and whatnot, then it's probably a little bit more up your alley.
It was a good one.
And
not great, but it was good.
Yeah. It was definitely a game I wouldn't have been disappointed owning back in the day if I had bought it. There's a few games that when I bought them,
you
it was
picked
like,
a whole month's worth of those you're talking about there, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't worry, I'm this month or this next game that I have chosen, which we will find out in a little bit. I'm sure everybody, as soon as they see it, will be like, "Oh man,
beauty."
Yeah, you couldn't even get past February without picking another bad one.
Is it Neutroid again?
Oh, come on!
Is that even a game?
That cruel.
Is that going to be the next title? Neutroid again?
Recharged and
It's
reloaded.
Neutroid, comma again? Question mark. That's the next version.
Coming soon from Nick Morantes in Australia. Neutroid again?
The blunder from down under.
Poor Nick.
And he got up really early in the morning for this.
Hey, at least we're leaving Grant alone now.
Still is Grant Appreciation Day here on the CoCoNation show. We'll get back to that real soon.
I love that tagline. I'm going to remember that one. That's a good one. The blunder from down under.
The blunder from down under.
I'm going to actually print out a nice little thing and stick it on my Neutroid game package for that one.
We need like a lower third for Nick Marentes, the blunder from down under.
Oh.
Sad thing is, he only blundered on one game out of his entire career, so that's kind of unfair. But
that was
make sure it's upside
But it was
down.
the same game 6 times that he did it.
Yeah, multiple blunders. I guess you're right.
Non-believers.
We woke him up.
Heritage.
Rest of his games were thunder from down under.
Where were we?
Okay, back to the games. The other game that we played this week was Desert Rider. Yeah, I don't really know of any tips or tricks for this game other than don't hit things and
don't forget to slow down in real sharp corners so you actually can move your car to avoid things. Jump a little ahead of time when you're trying to jump over potholes or oil chunks or whatever. You can jump over the other cars too, so that's a bit harder because they are moving as well, so you have less
forgiveness for that.
Yeah, you have to time it much better.
You know, I'm not sure if I tried it. When you're in the middle of a jump, can you change direction?
I don't believe so.
No.
Not from what I remember.
I do like, I think on boot up, you can hold down the clear button and you can get an alternate color set if you're not wanting to use artifact also.
Yeah, if you set a couple palettes ahead of time and then use that clear trick, you can actually get it in color on RGB monitor on a CoCo3.
Yeah, I just got to figure out what the palette changes are. I'm not sure because it's not the
standard Primo 3
palette. It's the other one, and I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I remember I've done that before, and Nick even made some stuff for the CoCo STC. We made a menu to redo palettes on certain games. This one, I don't think was one of them.
No, it wasn't.
So on the archive, there's 2 versions of the game. One basic, one binary. What's the difference between those 2?
I think the basic one just loads the other one up.
Well, they're on 2 different discs.
Oh,
in the zip.
I think originally, when I remember having this from Radio Shack, it was one of the ones you could just use the DOS command, or you had to type in a little program for the run asterisk command if you didn't have that on your CoCo.
Yeah, so somebody might have just renamed the asterisk program to Des Ride 2 or something like that. Or maybe it sets palettes for the CoCo3. I don't even know. I used the copy I already had here before the archive even started, so I didn't try the both of those.
Command in the early basics, was it? I think the early basics didn't have DOS.
Right. Yeah, just 1.0 did not have DOS. It had bugs instead.
That's why you needed the basic program. Otherwise, you could get in and just type DOS.
I never tried to use the bugs command.
It's the one that trashed your directory for you. He would never notice because you could get disks to work anyway. It was pretty bad. But yeah, that's a fun one. That's actually, to me, that's one of the CoCo's hidden gems because it's kind of a combination of bump and jump and pole position in one game.
Unfortunately, you can't jump up in the air and land on your opponents and kill them.
No.
I tried that.
Yeah. And it was actually done by Steve Bjork, but it was also co-done with the Color America Users Group, which is an active CoCo group that he was part of in the Los Angeles area. I'm not sure what they had to do with the game. That was something we were going to ask him if we ever got a chance to interview him, but unfortunately that never happened. So,
actually, Tony, was it Capelli, who's lives in the Bay Area now? I guess was part of that group as well. He was telling me some info about it, so he might be able to provide some background info. Or
sure,
Capellini,
I'd love to have that. I mean, add that stuff to my site.
Okay, I will chat with him.
Yeah, it might be interesting. Bring somebody like that to see if they want to come on the show and talk about the Color Computer User Group.
Yeah. Oh, something else he mentioned too. He said that Sands of Egypt was a game, I guess, that Steve wrote. He said that if you had an original disc and you went to a show, Steve had a modifier program that would add to it. And I think it played music when it started up. And so you could only get that after the fact. after buying.
Oh, I didn't know
real
that
games.
at all. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so maybe we should have Tony come on. I'll chase him down.
As I do have an original Sands of Egypt disc here, so
I wonder if he has that modified version. That might be a candidate for the Grease
Archive.
Weasel.
I don't think Tony does because I think he got rid of it when he sold all his color computer stuff back
Mm.
years ago. But because he said something about being on the lookout for that because it would be a rare thing.
So if anybody out there has a copy of Sands of Egypt where it plays music at the beginning, get a hold of us. We want to see it.
Brian Wiesler, you have homework to do. How many copies of Sands of Egypt do you have? Like
Start
42?
digging. Got a lot to check.
You're going to have to check all those. And he's on mute. Probably a good idea. Oh, looks like
He's already
right
got
now.
one.
He's having another car wash moment.
He's got to go out to the warehouse and
I mean, I guess I would give some of us people that do disassembly a bit of an incentive too to actually just start hunting through and see if we can find where the music code is, and then just figure out how to link it back in.
I pulled up Tony's message to me. Says
in a bag.
he says if he brought Steve an original Sands of Egypt disc, he would run a special program that wrote music to it. So when the game loaded, it played this neat tune that had an Egyptian feel to it. He did this on my diskette, but I sold all my CoCo gear and software in the mid '90s. Anyway, so if you
So
have
is
one
it
that
is
plays
it
music-
Steve was enabling music that was already there to run, or was
I
he
don't know,
adding
or
to it?
I think it might have been added. Tony
Oh,
didn't
okay.
say, but it sounds like it was. If it wasn't there, if it was there, it wasn't enabled. But if it wasn't there, he added it, and then it
Now to
played
bring
what
it full circle, was it the King Tut song from Steve Martin?
he didn't say.
Now I'm really intrigued. I want to hear that. I know Dallas Quest does have music, and it's kind of the sequel of one of those animated adventure games. But
Was
80s that
Sands
walk,
of Egypt-
walk like an Egyptian.
What did the software come in?
Well, I
Was it in a
originally had it
bag
on.
with a
I
picture?
yeah,
originally
Sands of
had it
Egypt
on
came on a
tape.
disc for the CoCo. That was the only way it was sold.
Right.
But it was in a bag, right? With the
Was-
artwork?
Oh no!
Yes.
Did I
No, it had a
no.
full size 8.5 by 11 manual
Right.
and with a color cover. Yeah,
But it was in a bag. It was in a
Well-
plastic.
Well, no,
No,
Tandy
no.
sold it, didn't they?
yeah, Tandy did.
Yeah, Tandy
Yeah, so it's
sold it
one of
in
their
a
wraps.
book. Yeah.
That's it
Yeah.
right there.
Oh,
It was-
okay.
it
I
was-
have a
there's the
version.
big one. They also have the little.
That's it. That's what I got right there. I think.
So I better. Well, I haven't loaded this up yet, so I better load it up and see if I have one of the rare copies.
yeah.
And if Tony knows any of the other people from that club, if you said he doesn't have the discs anymore himself that he got modified, some of the other people in the club I'm sure did. I wonder if they still have them, that we can at least get a copy in the archive.
Yeah, I
I
will
wonder if
ask
there's
him.
any that
Send
are
him a
in
message
the
right now.
estate or were in the estate.
Did Sands of Egypt come out for the Atari?
Yes,
So the Atari
and the Apple
version-
II.
Well, I wonder if the Atari version at least might have had the music, and he just tried to do the same on the CoCo.
Yeah, I mean, we already had multi-voice music out there from other software, so no reason he couldn't have.
I'll have a look for the Atari version and see if that's got music.
I'm pretty sure it does, if I remember. The Apple II one obviously does not.
It would have been really poor music.
Yeah.
Deeper music. Okay,
Cool.
well, getting back to the Game On Challenge.
Yep. Any tips for Desert Rider, though, other than the jump ahead of time a little bit and slow down on corners, sharp corners?
Well, I could say one tip: if you're running it on a CoCo3 and you're using a composite monitor, just go ahead and do the F1 reset before you even load the game, so you'll have the right color set.
Okay. And a few people did ask in the Discord chat. I didn't put down what level we're playing on, so it's easy. It's a hard enough game that easy is challenging.
Yeah, you'll be able to waste through the first few tracks once you get playing a bit, but getting 4 and 5 and up and past that, then it's
Yeah.
challenging even on easy. So cool. So that's our game for yet one more week. What have you got planned to screw us over on this next weekend?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that yet. First, I have to. Well,
Oh yeah,
Sloopy's-
live. Got to go to the live
Sloopy's
show.
not here, so I got to talk about the live show. So,
which I think had one of the largest attendances at once we've had in a while, didn't it?
Let's see here. So yeah, we had a really good turnout. So here we have 7 people playing. I think did we have?
I see at least 4 of them running the wrong artifact colors.
Yep, I saw that too.
Now we have 8 people playing. So it was a good turnout then. So not only did King Tut have one of our best showings for scores for quite a few weeks now. We also had more people in playing this week for the live show. And, who's to say it's got to be an orange or a blue track?
Jason and I are purists.
Yeah, I've never seen a blue desert. And but what was Henry III running? Was he emulating? Because that looks really cool.
Yeah, that looked closer to the real CoCo. Like I'm using VCC in mine here because that's something I can share the screen with. But Henry was running a later version of MAME with a much better artifacting, and that's actually what it looks like on a TV better back in the day.
Absolutely, that was what I was getting towards.
Yeah, up top center there if you're looking at
that is artifact analog beautifuless right there, at least at this size, so I can see from here. That's awesome.
Well, see, I was
because you actually had yellow sand
with the blue track and the orange sky. I was just pretending it was at sunset, and I was racing down a river.
Stretching it a bit there, Ken.
Yeah, I didn't. It's getting a little deep in here.
It's called retcon, boys and girls.
Hey, those three wheelers had big tires. You could float them a little bit.
When did this game come out?
84 or 85?
Yeah, because this is one of the first games that I played on the CoCo when I first got it. And,
geez, why didn't you come and play it on the show then, Ron?
Because there was too many people on. I wanted to be the only one.
Well, make sure you submit a score. At least you've actually played this game, so no more excuses on this one. You can submit a score.
Well,
you can come on and we'll just highlight you.
Like. I mean, if they're, if you got to think, I just want to relax and blow up things, or crash.
But yeah, for the what Henry's looking at there, that's what I remember on the old TVs. That's like you got the extra yellows and the much brighter or darker reds and stuff. So that looks a lot closer to the original.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so yeah, we had a good turnout. So I'm hoping that this upcoming week on Thursday night in the Game On Challenge Live Discord channel, we'll have even more people than this. So yeah, that's at I don't care what time it is for you guys. For me, it's 5 o'clock on Thursday nights. So
8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, but
8
the
p.m.
most
Eastern,
importantly,
7 Central. Here
5
on
o'clock for me. It's 5
5
o'clock.
o'clock Ken time. Oh my goodness! Let's. Well, what time is it in Australia and Guam while we're at it?
How about Newfoundland? What time is it in Newfoundland?
Oh, it's probably what? It's probably
8:30 or 9:30, one of the two.
I think it would be 8:30 Newfoundland time.
Yeah, because I think that's one of those half an hour time zones. Yeah,
it is one of those half hour
1.5
zones.
hours less in Eastern.
Not anymore. Well, I was just I'm now. Oh, I'm not now.
Don't worry, it'll be all confused here in a few weeks when we
Time
start
change.
daylight saving time here in the U.S.
Yay!
Move it all again.
Not me. I don't do that crap.
Yeah, you don't do that. Well, most I know. Ron
Neither does
won't
Ron.
be doing it.
Nope,
Yeah.
I don't.
We're the
You
smart
get
ones.
You get that relative motion and that everyone else did, so you've got to do the math anyway.
Just
Yeah, the only thing I never liked about Saskatchewan is then it changed all the times that all the shows that I like to watch came on.
You called it Newfoundland. I thought it was Newfoundland.
Both are acceptable. It just depends on who. You can call it Vinland if you want to. Go back to the Viking times.
And Ken, about all the time that shows being on at the wrong times, that's how I feel like when I'm in Chicago, when I'm just 1 hour different from home. It's like everything's on at the wrong time.
There you go.
Also, just a little side note for those who don't know, if you wanted to, figure out who's the most earliest proven discoverer of America, that was in Newfoundland too. It was not Columbus.
Yep, that was the Vikings in Newfoundland.
Yeah,
Columbus,
1001 AD.
Yeah.
Well, I learned it was the people that came across the Bering Straits and came into North America.
They were the original inhabitants. But if you look for Europeans that discovered America.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Ron's going back to the land bridge.
What do I mean, Europeans? People from Europe.
From Europe.
No, I was talking about bathroom.
And that's another one for Grant Appreciation Day here on the CoCoNation show.
At no additional charge.
Yes. We pass the savings on to you.
You notice that Frederic is ignoring our bad jokes and actually getting work done.
I gotta get some work done here.
All right. Well, how about we take a look at, so we'll be playing Desert Rider for one more week.
Desert Rider?
Wait, I can't
I
find
want a
that
Sundae.
I'll have the meringue card, please.
Yeah, the blue thing.
So, Desert Rider for one more week. And now, actually, Curtis, you're going to like this game. I know you are.
Oh.
Well, you recommended it.
Did I?
Oh, boy.
Yes, I did. This will be a fun one.
It's another space game.
It's a space game.
It's another Star Trek.
Is it
Space?
Rom?
Yeah, you nailed that one, Mark.
Joystick?
Ice Rick.
Yes.
I'm done for.
And Nick got it. Look at that.
Yep. So, for those of you that didn't hear Nick, it is dun 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 dun.
Space Wreck.
Space Wreck. So
This is a 3D wireframe real-time version of the Star Trek simulator from the arcade. If you guys played that.
So you're the
that
Starship.
explains that's how Wrek is spelled with a K then only.
Yep. They didn't want to get sued, so they changed it from Star Trek to Space Wreck.
Definitely not Trek, right?
Well, it's funny. Back in the late 90s, I worked for a computer store and they called it Trek Computers and they spelled it with a C instead of a K.
Probably not to get sued.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. And then it was a space theme in one part of it. So yeah, exactly.
The one thing I found cute about this, and maybe this is a game we should play at CoCoFest since the theme is going to be Star Wars, is that the initial role that explains the game long, long ago type thing is based on Star Wars, even though the game is a clone of Star Trek.
Yeah. So it's got the scrolling off into the
Text
distance.
going off in the distance type thing, yeah. It's a 3D wireframe, basically. It's actually pretty advanced. I've seen some other Star Trek simulator clones on other 8-bit machines, and most of them use sprites and don't really use the 3D effects. And this actually does the wireframe 3D, so your cubes and spinning cubes and stuff actually come out in 3D.
Mm-hmm. And it's a split screen, so you got 3 sections of the screen. One showing the status of your ship, one showing an overhead view, and one showing kind of the bottom part shows the front view of what's in front of you.
Yeah. Joystick required, CoCo 1, 2, or 3, 32K, or does it run 16? I can't remember now.
I think it's 32, but
yeah.
Bob, you like that composite, don't you?
It does pretty good out of this computer. It's the only output I have.
Well, it's a good game, and we definitely would recommend giving it a shot, especially if you're a Star Trek fan and you played the arcade game.
Yeah, so Taylor and Amy, if you're watching this, I'm expecting, I know you're Star Trek fans, so I expect to see your scores posted for this game.
Yeah, we'll have to remind them on their channel and the WhatsApp too.
Yeah.
There you have it.
And I'm not reading Ken's comment on air.
Now I'm going to
Not me, Ken, by the way. Not me. This was Ken Reigert.
Oh.
It's a phase shift question.
Oh, I'll have to.
Oh, by the way, we're talking about the discovery of Americas in Newfoundland. Tom Eric Gunderson in the chat, I forgot to mention, so that was us, the Vikings. He's from where the Vikings came from.
Minnesota?
Not too good as a football team, right?
Yes, the football team were the original ones to.
You're only a millennium off there, Jason.
Hut, hut,
Is that all? I'm close then.
All right, Jason, you got to talk to your brother.
I'll review that with him later when I get a chance.
He should go seek some mental help. I think
I'm going to give him a strong talking to.
Actually, I can guess what Ken's next video game might be.
Brian Wiesler
his own private Star Trek simulator.
Brian Wiesler has the top echelon for the language thing. Right, Brian?
Look.
Anyway, so that's the game for the next 2 weeks, and if you guys like if you like Star Trek, or if you like the Star Trek simulator from the arcade back in the day, which is a color vector game, if I remember correctly, this is a pretty good clone of it. Also live Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Join Ken and Sloopy. Or maybe just Ken, because Sloopy never shows up here anymore. But anyway.
Plus everybody else that shows up there on a regular basis, like our unpaid intern, Jim Rye.
Yep.
Our backup streamer, Mark B.
Also the reader of the documentation, Mark B.
Yes. Our dramatic documentation reader, Mark B.
Yep, and mispronouncer.
Yes. Chief mispronouncer.
That's what makes it fun. All right. Well, that's it for the Game On. What's up next?
Believe we have some news, possibly.
Yep. I got news. I got a little bit of Game On news, not a ton. And I've also got the announcements, of course, of upcoming shows. So did you want to do a break and I hit all three, or do you want to do one of them and then hit a break, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, we can do a break.
Okay.
Let's see. Which one am I doing this week? Number 2.
Hi, I'm Terry Steggy from Retro Tech Time and the Tandy Shack, and you're watching the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
From the makers of the Switcheroo. Wallaby Cable, Color Computer 3 Dual RGB Cable. Get yours today at cocoman.biz.
A whole new approach. Faster than ever. A window to a world of possibilities. Clear your expectations. Clear your hesitation. Just hit clear.
Download EOU today at lcurtisboyle.com.
Hey there, I'm Ken from Canadian Retro Things.
And I'm Amy from Taylor and Amy Show.
Yeah, that was Amy from Taylor and Amy Show. And you're watching the CoCoNation Show.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC-10, and all of their hardware cousins, no matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation, the CoCoNation News. with L. Curtis Boyle.
Okay, if everything's going according to plan, you should be seeing the Interim Computer Festival on the screen right now.
Yep.
Okay. So upcoming shows, of course, VCF SoCal ended last weekend. And I will have a bit of a report. We got a person there who's actually in our Discord called Voidstar. I'm not sure who that is in real life, but he actually took some pictures and kind of reviewed the show. So we'll kind of cover that a little bit later. There was a couple CoCo exhibits there. But as far as upcoming ones go, we got the first is the Interim Computer Festival, which is taking place March 23rd and 24th at Interest Space in Seattle, Washington. And this is hopefully going to become a full VCF event again, which it was before COVID. So they've actually filled up with some seminars and stuff already been posted. I won't go through them all here, but if you're in the Washington State area, that would be a good show to go to. Next after that is the Indy Classic. This is run by Randy Kindig, amongst others, and is in Indianapolis, Indiana. And that's April 13th to 14th at Crown Plaza. And I think this show has only been going for this is their second year, I think. I think they just started it last year, if I remember correctly. So you can help encourage them. It's actually not that far from Chicago. For any of you guys in the Chicago area, that's not too far off of a trip. I think it's, what, 4 or 5 hours, I think, from Chicago. After that, of course, is the giant Brian Wiesler extravaganza. I mean, Glenside CoCoFest, where Brian will be showing off a lot of cool stuff that you won't see anywhere else. So definitely, this is the year to go if you want to try to make it. And of course, that is coming up here on the May 4th, the 5th, May the 4th be with you weekend in Carroll Stream, Illinois, at the Holiday Inn and Suites. And as Grant mentioned earlier, the main hall's tables are completely sold out. There's additional ones now in an extra room and in the hallway. I saw one of the hallway ones that's already been filled in as well. And of course, we have the auction and everything else as we normally do. But this is going to be a special one, I think, this year. So you definitely, if you only want to make one show in the next couple of years, this is the one to try to get to if you can. And once again, here's the Tandyless Com. And the solid red up here has all been completely taken up for the main hall. And then there's one already here. This is the hall ones here. And these are the new additional ones that just got added by Grant for that separate room if you want to make sure your stuff is locked down in the evening. Next, after that, there's 2 on the weekend of June 14th to 16th. The first one is Boatfest 3. At a new location, a couple blocks from where it's been the last couple of years, called the Social Event Space. This is in Hurricane, West Virginia. This is a general gaming expo for computer games, video games, occasionally pinball machines and stuff too. A lot of people that if you're part of the Amigos channel or watch the Amigos channel, you'll see a lot of the people that are mentioned there in the chat or have been guests on the show, etc., including their international computer club dates that they have. And this is always a lot of fun. It's gaming, very casual, a lot of fun. There's a couple of really good restaurants. There's a couple new ones, actually. One is actually owned by Bolt's wife that just opened up this last year, but there's another one, I guess, nearby that just opened too. So there's supposed to be some really good cuisine that Ken and I will likely be sampling when we're there. And that same weekend, there's VCF Southwest. This is in the Davidson Gundy Alumni Center, University of Texas at Dallas. So this is in the home area of Tandy itself. And they actually do have a special Tandy assembly meetup, I think, for Saturday night. That's the current plan. And this is also June 14th to the 16th. So this is, it was a really good show last year. I know Brendan Donahue and some of the other people that are actually in the Texas area and the CoCo community actually do attend the show. Brendan actually had a booth last year. I think he's doing the same this year, from what I recall. Chronological Gaming's actually giving a seminar there as well. So this would be a really good one to go to. I'm going to try to make it next year. I just can't make it this year, but I definitely want to go and visit some of the Tandy guys, because a lot of the people that worked at Tandy, including some of the people that did design for the CoCo and the Videotex and the Terra City Model 1.3s and all that kind of stuff, actually attend the show. So you can actually meet some of the people that are kind of our heroes and kind of started us all. We wouldn't have this show without them. And then the last one I got for now is Tandy Assembly 2024. So this is September 27th to the 29th at the Courtyard by Marriott Springfield, same as it has been the last few years in Springfield, Ohio. No announcements of seminars and stuff yet, but it's still like well over half a year out, so that's not surprising. And but the fees and stuff are already there, and you can actually book as an exhibitor or just book to attend type thing. And that's always a good time. And that covers all the Tandy computers. So that covers from pocket computers to Tandy 1000 series to CoCo's and the Tier City black and white models and data terminal ones and all kinds of stuff. So be there or be square. And that's it for those. I guess I'll do the Game On news since we just did the Game On recently. I just got a few of those. Sure, let me share that. Okay, so first up, we've got some MC10 ports by, I'm going to let the panel guess. Who do you think did these?
Jim Gary?
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, of course. So Jim Gary did 3 this week that I managed to catch. The first one is Haunted House, which was originally sold by Tandy for the Tier City Model 1 in 1979. So this is even before the Model 3 came out. And you can see on the screen here, which actually shows the tail end of the listing of this conversion. It was originally written by Donald Foster. And Jim decided to gussy this one up a little bit. So he made a little low-res color intro screen for it, which I'll let it play for a bit here so you can kind of see. Which looks pretty cool. I like that. Kind of looks like a haunted house. I mean, it's a text adventure game, but he kind of gussied it up a little bit, so that's kind of cool. And I think it requires, I can't remember if it requires a 4K or if it'll work, or if it requires a 16K. So I see, describe that down here. 4K, yeah. So it'll even run on a stock MC10, even if you don't have a memory expansion, either the original 16K expander module or any of the new ones that are out now. The second one he ported here is actually a port from the CoCo itself, and this is Sceptre of Kzirgla by Rainbow Connection Software, one that I just recently added to my site within the last year. And this one came out about mid-82, I think it was. And on the CoCo version, it has a high-res intro screen, and then the rest of the game is in standard low-res graphics. And of course, the MC10, unless you buy expansion packs and stuff here, doesn't have the full high-res, so he redid the title screens and stuff here. Now, I will mention, if you're going to watch this particular video, the very beginning of his video is actually showing the end of a game that he was playing where he wins. So you get the full reveal screen, high res, or the low res reveal screen on the MC10. Now, if you don't want to see that, you want to skip ahead about 43 seconds, and then you can play like an actual start of gameplay. Now, other than the title screen and the win screen, which were done with high res graphics on the CoCo original version of the program, the actual gameplay is on the regular semi-graphics, and that is pretty well identical. So I'll just play a little bit of that so you can kind of see what it looks like on the MC10. And this one does require the 16K. And that's pretty reminiscent of the full graphic PMO 3 version that the original CoCo version had. So you get to pick what you I'll skip the buying stuff in the store here. I basically go through these randomly generated levels. You've got chests and stuff to open. Some will, kill you. You got monsters to attack. You can attack walls to destroy them because on later levels the maze is so filled in with walls you can't actually. Maybe I should probably lower that. But you will sometimes have to attack a wall to blast a hole in it so you can get into another part of the maze. And your weapons can be damaged somewhat, so that you have to kind of keep track of too. But basically, I think you have to go to the 11th level, I think it is, and then you can get the Sceptre of Kzirgla to win the game. And I won't play the win screen, so I won't spoil it for people. And then the last one he did, which actually just got released this morning, I believe, is called the Addition and Subtraction Drill Program, so it's educational. But this is actually kind of an interesting roundabout way, because this was originally an MC10 game in Dutch. So this was published recently, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name because we've covered his YouTube channel. He's actually been doing kind of a, restoring of a bunch of old CoCo and MC10 stuff that he got from an estate sale in Europe that had a lot of the stuff in foreign languages. So Jim actually translated all the stuff in here into English, and he's calling it, I think, Dutch sum, for some for addition subtraction type things. So. Not just porting the game over, because basically the game is still an MC10 game, but just translating all the Dutch to English here. So that's more effort than I'd probably put into a game. But I'm impressed that he took the time to do that. So it's fairly simple. It's meant for young kids, but it's good that they recovered some software, for the MC10 that's not from France where the Alice was, or from North America where the MC10 was probably the most common. Next up, that Chronological Gaming. Whoops. Chronological Gaming actually covered a couple of CoCo and Dragon games here. I won't play too much of them because some of the games are, basically some of these games are multi-platform. Like this particular one we're looking at here, called The Tyrant of Athens. And this is a Dragon game, and it was also a Spectrum game, and I think a couple other platforms. So Chronological Gaming, because the Spectrum's a lot more common. If you get some of these cross-platform ones released at the exact same time, he's usually playing the Spectrum ones for the long play. But he'll show the tape in the original manual and cartridge or artwork or stuff for the cassette, etc. So that's what it's showing here is the Dragon ones. I won't play anything of this, but it's a text adventure game basically. And then there's a second one here called Warlord. Same thing, was cross-platform for a couple different systems, including the Dragon. And I'm wondering if Kieran or anybody has played any of these on, if you mentioned in the chat here. I think they're mostly text adventure style. And then the last one, and this is kind of he's cleaning up the end of 1982 September. And this is the last of the CoCo ones to appear. It's Wildcatting. Now, this actually appeared several years earlier, also made by the image producers who did the CoCo version, but they actually did this originally for the TI-99. And I can't remember, there's one or two other platforms too that this was for. So the CoCo one was actually kind of a late one. So we covered that. Now, a bit of an aside here. The one he kind of highlighted on this particular episode is called Way Out, and it's an Apple II game and an Atari game, which I was pretty stunned by. It's a 3D maze, exit the maze type thing, but it's not the cheating 3D like, Labyrinth or Dungeons of Daggerath or Phantom Slayer does in the CoCo, where it's just basically flipping the frames here, but it actually has the kind of perspective of walking through the maze like Gatecrasher does. And apparently it's not even using raycasting of any sort here. So I was going to show you the Atari version just to say this is pretty advanced for 1982 September. It loads.
Like the Kleptangle gets,
but you can see like it's a real time. You can move your shifting around your sight area and stuff.
That's way out, man.
I have bandwidth problems again.
You can see I'm still drawing on the auto map. Oh, he just stole it. What do you steal?
But I didn't think this type of 3D perspective happened until a lot later than this.
Kleptangle. And if you touch him again, you can get it back. But that's if you can chase him back. Yeah, there we go.
Now, of course, they're restricting the size of the screen and the resolution somewhat, so they don't have to, calculate too much. But Nick, considering you took a CoCo3 to do Gatecrasher, I was wondering what your opinion of this might be for that type of perspective.
Can you move just slightly to the left and right?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is 1982. I'm impressed. Because I think the first one I saw that this type of perspective was probably Wolfenstein, to be honest. I think there was one other one maybe a little bit earlier than that, but not this early. I'd never heard of this one before. And Mark Overalls, have you seen the Apple II version of this one?
No, I haven't.
Because there's an Apple II version. Now, it doesn't look as impressive as the Atari one, but it's basically doing the same thing.
I'm going to have to look this up. I don't recall seeing this one. So
it's
slower, but it's still doing the same shift and run perspective.
That's the sound of the Kleptangle. It's making what sounds like a Geiger counter rather than the cool sounds on the Atari home computer. I still haven't figured out stop. Audio. It's constantly moving.
But graphically, that's impressive for 82. I had no idea anything like that existed. So I'm kind of glad he did this. Now I want to port one of these stupid things to the CoCo to see.
Right.
Optimize it.
Yeah, 609 it. He did, or somebody in the chat there mentioned that they'd looked up some information on this, I think on Atari Age or something. And apparently this is using something called an XOR. I can't remember the term they used. But the method they're using is not a strict raycast like we're used to, like Nick would have done or Sockmaster did with the original demos. But there's some sort of XOR table or something that actually lets you kind of fake it much faster doing this. So I'm kind of curious if this has been disassembled anywhere, because I'd like to learn how that algorithm works. Because maybe you can do something really impressive then if it takes a lot less CPU time. And obviously it does, because these are running at 1 and 1.78 megahertz machines as well, but back in
And
82.
1 megahertz for the Apple.
Yeah, one for the Apple and 1.78 for the Atari.
Yeah, so there's ray casting and ray tracing, but I actually have a really good graphic book that's for the Apple with AppleSoft and Assembler, and also the version for the IBM PC, and it has some advanced techniques like this, how to basically calculate points outside of your viewable area, how you do the math and get it to come up. So I'll have to take a look at that and see.
Yeah, most excuse me. Most of the ones I've seen are either sign based or sign table based. If you want to do a quick lookup, which I think that's how Remy's 3D ray trace or texture mapped one demo on the CoCo3 works, the one I optimized for the 639 later, and also Gate Crasher and both of the Gloom demos by Sockmaster are based on that. But this sounds like it's using something even smaller and faster than that. Maybe it's not as perfect. I don't know, but very impressive. I have to say.
So to keep it straight in my brain, ray casting is where, like, a kid's version that shoots out of your eyes and what the ray hits.
Yeah, where it hits, it stops.
And then ray tracing is there's a separate light source that bounces.
Yeah, ray tracing is the one that takes hours, even on semi-modern machines, because you're doing every single shadow and light reflection. And
it's like Deluxe CoCo and CoCo Deluxe. I can never keep them straight. So casting is from your eyes. You're radaring out.
Nick can probably explain this better than any of us because he's actually written the game that's based on it.
I can.
Yeah. Well, you wrote it.
Or just, we can play the game, I guess.
Yeah. No. Whatever.
So your version used the ray trace, right? Like where you basically do this scan from the eye?
Yeah, from the eye. Yeah, that's right.
And did you use a sign table on yours? I can't remember.
Yes, there was a sign table.
Okay. Because apparently this uses some sort of XOR thing, which I've never heard of before, but apparently it runs pretty quick because it's running on these fairly old machines here. So next up, I've Retro Trailer 2, which is a channel I'm not familiar with, put up a short video of gameplay of Speed Racer. Now, this is running an old version of MESS, which he mentions in the little description of the video. So the artifacting looks much poorer than on real hardware or more modern versions of MAME. You'll notice how it's doing the strict 4 color mode. But the version he's playing here seems to have the palettes hacked quite a bit from what I'm used to seeing on MESS or MAME, for that matter, which on this screen is pretty well unreadable. But when you get to the actual gameplay, not bad. It actually got green grass and red barns and a grayish thing. So I'm sure this is on a CoCo3 with a palette hack, even on the old version of MESS or MAME, to give it a bit more of a natural color for what you're driving through. Because I think on the original CoCo, the grass is kind of that blue, of course, artifacted blue. So this is a palette hack I'd not seen before, but it's not bad. It's not terrific, and I'd like to see it on a more modern version of MAME that actually does the, fine details of artifacting better, so it's not such a blurry mess trying to read these numbers and stuff. But
looks like a Christmas scene.
yeah, kind of. The right color theme for it, that's for sure. And the last one I've got here, this is XperTek. We've covered him before. This is a guy that has a Spanish channel, and he's normally like an IT guy. And then he has this real CoCo2 hooked up to an Amber monitor, and he plays CoCo games and records them every once in a while with commentary in Spanish. So he does that, and he's using Spidercide from Tandy, so the actual cartridge version. Now this game, if I remember, the artifact colors of the spiders determines how many points they're worth, and of course on an Amber screen you can't tell. So he probably has no idea scoring wise, what he's trying to kill off, one of the spiders type thing. I'm sure everybody here's seen Spidercide, or do you guys want to see a quick clip of the gameplay in action? Going once, going twice. I'll assume that you guys know what it looks like. Then. Oh, you want a quick clip? Okay.
Yeah.
This game has pretty good sound effects. That's what I kind of remember.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, it does.
Es complicado controlar esto.
I remember that.
The controls I remember took a while to get used to. Because you left and right on the joystick steers you left and right, and then back and forward actually moves you back and forward. But if you hold it slightly off center, you're starting going in curves. But it's kind of a cross of like asteroids with a Tholian Web episode of Star Trek. That's what it reminds me of. An original game, as far as I know.
What? No carbamide?
No bluffing. Anyway, it's good to see that we've been seeing a lot the last couple of years here of foreign language, although it's not English language, CoCo videos happening on a variety of fronts in South America and in Europe, et cetera. So that's been really cool to see. I'm glad that the word of the CoCo is spreading, and the people that had CoCos back then are being able to share a lot of this stuff. They have different hacked versions of software with different languages for instruction screen stuff, and every once in a while we get a pop in of something we've never seen before because it was written natively in that language for their version of the CoCo, and it never got translated over to us. So that's really cool. That's it for the game on news. So let me switch over to the regular. Okay, you guys are seeing VCF SoCal?
It happened, man.
Voigt's actually in our
We're losing Curtis.
Discord. Not sure.
Well, there's a couple of syllables.
Give him a minute. He'll fly back in.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going to talk about VCF SoCal. I think we got some. He's got some pictures.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually happened.
Yeah.
We have T-shirts.
Happened last week.
Cat, go lay down over there. There. You go lay down on that right there. Yeah, there you go.
Curtis should have rebooted his Mac this morning.
Right, or rebooted Sastel.
We lost him altogether. He went off the air.
Yeah, he's been gone for a while.
Okay, how about some WeFAX for everybody?
Everybody drink.
Thanks, everyone.
Do 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 do.
See if there's any news or if it's going to be really long next week.
Hey, there he is.
No video, no audio.
Muted though.
He'll come back.
He's muted like some of our guests.
Right. Very emphatically muted though.
Yeah, my router rebooted itself spontaneously. Don't ask me what the hell happened there.
Update.
I told you it's sunspots.
That might have been an update.
Sunspots.
So let's see if I can try this again.
Hey, we were on tab 1.
With feeling.
You missed the intermission music.
I was
Mark.
singing.
Yes.
The Jeopardy 30 seconds theme.
Unfortunately, it also disconnected a lot of the links here. So just a second here. I gotta bring this
Right,
back.
so you've got 42 links to bring back up, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark. Give us some more.
Cut paste, cut paste, cut paste.
Oh, let's see.
Okay. You guys can see this now?
Wade Star, yep.
Okay, so this is a fancier hotel than I think we're used to seeing at a
Yeah,
vintage computer show.
California.
Yeah, it's across the street from
And
that,
it's-
right?
And it's Orange County.
Yeah, and this is the actual what's the National League Baseball team there? That's
Angels.
the Angels.
Anaheim.
Is it Anaheim Angels still, or
Their stadium's in Anaheim because I've actually stayed right near it. So
yeah, I've actually been to the Anaheim Angels Stadium. I had a meeting with them years back, but anyway, that's the hotel it's in. And then he started going around just taking pictures of all the various booths here. So this is stuff for the Atari 8-bits, as you can see here. And they actually had a fair bit. The one guy brought a whole bunch of Macs, and which including quite a few for sale, from G3s to G4s to the classic style ones. There's some of the seminars happening in the seminar room. Microsoft Windows actually still boxed up for $200.
version 3.
Good choice.
Maybe version 2.
Any CPU, $5. I don't see any 639s in there though, unfortunately.
Hey, I got a collection just like that.
I'd love to get $5 a piece for them.
Some of the original cross-platform basic game books. I used to have this blue one here, actually, the basic computing one, the first one.
There's some people were storing, 30-year-old systems that want, the authentic MD K4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like, I need one of those.
There's some old,
Wildcat
portables and stuff, kind of like the Model 100 style. That in particular is the neck. There's an MC10 makes an appearance. This is some other Tandy things here, like the portable disk drive.
Right down in the
Something in
middle.
the middle there.
Beefy expansion.
Yeah,
MC10
CoCo right
too.
there. And the CoCo Dancer. Actually, maybe I'll zoom that one up.
Go to.
Program by Roger Taylor, who doesn't want to show up in our show for some reason. Roger, please come on. This is one I don't remember seeing before. The Otrona Attaché.
Ooh, interesting. Transportable.
Luggable.
Luggable, yeah.
Luggable, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a fair number of pounds, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, not a
18
pound
it
over
says.
50.
It says 18 pounds.
Oh, with just floppies. Okay, that makes sense.
I do like this where the whole front end of the drive lifts up to put in a floppy disk, though, not just a little latch, but the whole front end lifts up.
Oh, it's like a tape drive used to open up, except for floppies. Okay.
Yeah. I have seen one or two of these before on other machines, but they're pretty rare. There's some keyboard stuff. An 8-bit synthesizer for MIDI. Using 8-bit Motorola 6800 family of chips.
Yay.
A whole bunch of, the really old classic stuff here, like M-Size, and
Yep.
there's a PDP. I think I can't tell. Is that the 8 or the 11? 8. So that's I think similar to the one that Rick Adams has now.
Yep.
That's not an original LT. It's a lot smaller.
This is the
Yeah, no, these are many like duplicates.
Yeah, these are all like modern recreations of them.
Recreations, yeah.
Fun fact, I worked at a Burger King that used a PDP-8 to run all of their point-of-sale systems, and that thing was as big as that luggable that you saw earlier.
Well, the PDP-11 I had was the size of a refrigerator that we had at work. So
Yeah, the 8 was still pretty. It was a good 50-pound computer, so yeah.
yeah. The Mattel Aquarius. It's a bit of a rare one.
Almost a computer.
Yeah, some other stuff. This is an 8-bit computer from scratch, all wire wrapped. You hardware people are insane. Insane, I tell you.
Check out the back indeed. I bet
Hey, it used to be that to build a printed circuit board was a horrible thing. I mean, you had to lay stuff out and then get it made. It was easier to wire wrap stuff. Really, it was the lowest.
You wouldn't catch me dead doing this kind of stuff. That's just too much. Well, the computer would be dead too if I tried to make one. So kind of productive.
There is no soldering involved. It's just a little gun that wraps the wire in.
They also had a section on computing across the pond. So here's a Specky actually playing Chucky Egg, which of course is one we also have in the Dragon and the CoCo.
Loading off of a little iPod.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Cassette file. Yeah.
Yeah. Some Atari projects there. 3D printing. There's a television. That's an Amiga, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 1200.
You don't see Vectrex.
The PET, the original keyboard PET, which Ken Waters might be very familiar with at this point.
He's got a few of them.
Built-in cassette.
Yeah, what a beauty to type on.
Oh, I hated that space, quote unquote, bar.
Pick any key.
Yeah.
They're all.
I mean, I was used to regular manual typewriters had a nice wide space bar. This little red thing here, that's the space bar.
Well,
that's the first computer I ever used, was that exact model.
That's a space button, not a space bar.
Yeah,
Well, and they managed to totally screw up QWERTY as well. I mean, the A is directly under the Q, you aren't going to hit that. You're going to hit the S going for the. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
So many
Well, they did
guys-
change it. I mean,
Remember-
to their credit, they figured out this keyboard sucks and they did replace it. But
Well,
Remember, the model before this was a calculator. So
Well, true.
Oh, isn't this the only computer that has its own kickstand?
Yes, yes.
yeah, where the whole case opens up and it's like, you know, but if you're putting the hood up in your car, you put this little bar to hold the thing open and
right, the whole thing tilts back, and there's a little bar to hold it up. Yep.
Yeah, like you're putting groceries in the back of your car or something.
Now, for those of you in the audience watching and listening and that are in the chat here, if you're not sure what we're talking about, I don't know, Ken, would you have an opportunity to show a pet, or is that too much trouble for you?
Have you ever tried to lift one of those? I'd have to
I
go
had
to my
enough trouble.
garage.
I had enough trouble showing my own pet, and you saw what happened there earlier in the show.
Right, got attacked by said pet.
So that's a firm no. I'm taking it, Ken.
Yeah, pretty much right now. If it were in the same room, maybe, but
Okay. No, I was just curious. I didn't know if that was possible or not. So.
There's a reason why it has a hood bar worthy of a Buick.
Yes,
exactly.
Besides, my original 2001 doesn't have a keyboard in it, so I'm
Oh,
missing
okay.
that wonderful chiclet keyboard.
Oh man, such a
I don't know. I'd say if you were really missing it.
So this data general here, like this, here's one of the removable platter hard drive units there, but that's the size of the PDP-11 that we had at work. That we had much smaller, crappier terminals than this.
And you upgraded with the CoCo, huh?
Yeah, we did. We swapped that whole darn thing out and put it on
Yeah.
one meg CoCo3.
Kind of, yeah.
And I'd say about 60% of Nitrous 9 development happened on that same machine while we were working. Because multitasking.
It was a
Is
thing.
that an SG? in the
I got
middle?
some Apple IIs and
Yep.
and that Clico Atom.
What's the thing right in the middle with the
That's Sun. So
That one?
Is it an SG? Yeah, what is that?
SGI.
Silicon Graphics. SGI.
Yeah, okay. There's money.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, them weren't cheap. Nope. Here's the Amiga CD, which is a bit of a rarer one. Just a bunch of Nintendo stuff. They had a free pile, as I believe almost all the BCFs have, where people just want to get rid of stuff and don't need money for it, so they
Yep.
just throw it on there.
Yep. I've scrounged a few things off the pre-pile.
For you diehard old style TRS-80s, there's a Model 1.
There we go.
On the free
pile?
pile?
Modem?
Yeah, it's on the free pile. I don't know. Tandy 600, which is, I think, their third gen after the Model 100 and 200.
MS-DOS transportable, I think, with a little LCD.
Yeah, so it's an 80 by 16 LCD screen or something. I can't even remember.
And they used to be white.
Yeah, it used to be
Yeah,
white.
Bromide.
That one needs a bit of retrowriting, yes.
Just stick it out in Ron Delveau's driveway.
Yeah, it'll bleach it
After
right up.
applying here.
There's a bunch of old circuit boards, which
Hydrogen
is
peroxide.
PC, so it's boring. Here's a
There.
Zork 3.
There a free pile at CoCoFest, like VCF?
Yeah.
Sometimes there is.
Sometimes it's just a free, not
It's all
maybe, I wouldn't maybe
Commodore
a
stuff.
pile.
And we do have the minimum bid auction, which means you can sometimes get stuff for like $1, which is close to free.
I got an 8-inch floppy drive or floppy disk one year on the free pile, but it's not nearly as tall as the pile at VCF.
Yeah. And here's the PET with an improved keyboard.
Yeah.
That
What
was
does
much
PET
better.
stand for?
Now that's a keyboard.
Personal
Yeah.
electronic transactor, I believe, was what.
Yes,
sounds
that is
about
what it
right.
was. Yeah. What I like is the
Just right
size of the
there.
dual floppy drive here. That thing's
Yep.
bigger than the
Yeah.
computer used to be.
Oh, when floppies were floppies.
And what do you
And
think
you gotta see the
CBM stands for?
Commodore Business Machine.
Business machine.
Oh,
And you got to see the circuit board inside that Model
Is-
2040 drive. It's
Is
about
it
the
like a
same
whole nother
size as a
computer?
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a whole nother
Yep.
computer.
Sweet.
I know what the BM stands for.
Business machines.
Mm.
Anyway, I had a really good review on it. If you read through the whole thing in detail, you can leave him a comment. If he's ever on the show, rather than just being in the Discord, if he wants to pop on and talk about it more at length, and do a full review of the show, I'd be kind of curious to see what he thought about some of the CoCo displays and stuff. Next up, we have George Jansen, who's released part 4 of his semi-language tutorial series for doing CoCo3 sprites and software. This includes some updates, corrections, and some speed-ups compared to what he did in the first 3 parts. I won't play too much of it here because it's over 10 minutes long. And I think he's inspired by Nick Marentes here for this part of the sprites demo.
Being a gearhead.
It's the gears, man. You'll see, okay, we're using a...
No, he doesn't animate the actual gears here like Nick did, so but he animates the shapes going over top.
Shaking gears was the thing.
Anyway, it's a really good series. If you want to learn how to do CoCo3 specific stuff like graphics and later sound and stuff like that, that's a good series to do, especially if you're a beginner. And of course, he did some CoCo 1 and 2 stuff when he actually was doing it live on CoCo Talk, and we've got other ones from Paul Fiscarelli and Steve Bjork and others for CoCo 1 stuff. But I think so far, George's is the only CoCo3 specific one, so it's a good place to go. He talks about the various graphics modes and the gimme and how to do the MMU and all kinds of stuff here. So that'll be a good tutorial for Frederic there when he starts programming his new MMU.
Yep.
Tuesday Retro Programming actually did a follow-up video to his Ultimate, and this is using draw statement stuff, and I'm not going to play the video here because it's similar to what we've seen on the previous couple video updates, but basically he's starting to work on the actual attacking because you've got your warrior, you can see on the screen there, and I think it's in the mid-draw when I happen to pause it. Of the wizard hasn't on the screen yet.
It's a little...
Yeah, so basically the snake is now wandering around, and you have to hit it in the head with the sword to actually injure it. And it can, at this point, still walk over you, but it's talking about the collision detection and trying to figure out, depending what direction you're facing, are you hitting the snake, etc. This is a rather cool one here by Todd Wallace, known as Lord Dragon on our Discord server. So he's done a whole lot of really cool things over the years, like the weather app for OS 9, and I think it was him that did the auto sense of what version of gimme and RAM detection stuff, a little thing for the CoCo3 for actually figuring out your CoCo without having to actually open it up. And in this, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he wrote, didn't he write the IRC?
IRC chat, yeah, he did that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both included in the OU, and will be included in the next OU that'll be coming out within the next month or two, hopefully. I actually did get some progress done on it this week for the first time in months, so that was good. Anyway, this is an emulator that emulates an Apple II. And he's writing on the CoCo. And it requires a 609 CPU and 512K of RAM. It also requires a fairly clean 20K ROM image. Now, I've seen some people complaining that it's not working right in some of the emulators and on real hardware. So I think there's still some glitchiness. So, user beware. Todd's actively working on this kind of stuff here, but he showed a couple things here. Like here's an example using low-res graphics, which he just implemented on the version 1 release that he did here. So it actually does have support for low-res. It does not support the high-res HDR modes yet. And it doesn't support the disk drive. And if anybody know the history of the disk drive on the Apple II, there's a good reason for that because it's a complicated mess as far as the program is concerned. Pretty ingenious for using the fewest amount of chips possible at the expense of the programmer's brain. So in this case here, he's got that screenshot, and then I thought I'd show you a little bit of his video here, where he actually shows it up and loading and then actually types in a couple things in BASIC. And I believe this is in real time. I don't think this is overclocked, which means he's actually got it emulating not too bad of a speed for what little it's doing right now. But right now, when you first turn on an Apple, it immediately tries to boot the disk, just like you type PR number 6. And since he's not emulating the disk yet, it just looks like it freezes. So what you have to do is do the equivalent of, what was the reset straight to BASIC on the Apple II? Is something reset? Was it
from
Apple reset or something?
That's only the later ones. If you're in the monitor, you can do Control B or Control C enter, and that will dump you into the BASIC from the monitor.
Yeah, because basically on his emulator right now, because it does have the actual Apple ROM, it's trying to talk to the disk drive by default, which is not there. So it'll never go past the boot screen. So he basically just changed it so that if you hit clear on the CoCo, it'll do the equivalent of that and kick you right to AppleSoft Basic, which is what you will see here. This is about 1 minute, so I'll just let it play. For the audio listeners, you'll have to go check out the video on Facebook in the CoCo group.
Mem.
Yeah, Mamie's using to run this particular one. still work in progress, should mention.
Yeah, but emulating an 8-bit computer on another 8-bit computer is
computer.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks like the original non-auto start ROM for the Apple.
Now the cursor doesn't look right to me because wasn't it the little crosshatch cursor?
No, the Apple II has a little solid one like that. It blinks, but it's solid just like that.
Or am I thinking the Apple II Plus then maybe?
Can I play Oregon Trail with this?
No, not yet.
Eventually.
That is high res.
Soon?
The text version you might be able to.
Not bad for a 4K CoCo. Maybe if it had 16K, it'd be a little quicker.
Right, but we have a CoCo emulating an Apple. That's just awesome.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And since we're getting more people from the general retro community starting to watch our show, I just wanted to show them this because we actually can emulate the Apple on a CoCo. We also have a CPM emulator on the CoCo that's part of the Nitrous 9 distribution. The next version will have a Flex, not even an emulator because it's running native 6809 code, but there's Flex will be included in Nitrous 9 as well, where you can actually run Flex disks. So there's a lot of stuff you can fiddle around with there.
Well,
anyway, that was really cool. So I'm looking forward to see where Todd takes us. Like I said, a lot of people tried it. Like Ron Klein and a few others tried it and they couldn't get it running properly. So it looks like there's probably some things specific to Todd's setup that, aren't quite generic enough to handle regular machines. So hopefully those get fixed fairly quickly. But that's still a fair bit of advancement to get this done. So go ahead.
It's for a 6309, so maybe the emulators have a bug with the 6309 emulation.
Ron tried it on real hardware too and had the same problem.
All right.
So I don't think it's that. Though you're right, some do have some bugs that may have affected it as well, but there's something that's still a little bit off. Now, I think one other person did manage to get it running, so it seems it might be the version of the ROM they're even getting. I'm not sure. It's a bit open right now, but Todd's pretty good at fixing bugs. He's done pretty well on his RC and his weather app and his auto detector and stuff. So, plus he did some of the sound chip music drivers for Nitrous 9 as well. So he's done a lot of stuff. He did the IBM PC CGA font that I use fairly regularly on Nitrous 9 as well. This is the GitHub link. Once again, you can get that from the show notes. You can get on the Discord server. He's got the source code there if you want to see how he did it. He's also got the directions here. He's got a couple of other screenshots showing it. Kind of where he's going with it. Now, one thing he's having a bit of a problem with right now, the Apple II up to DOS 3.2, I think had 13 sectors per track. And then after that, 3.3 and higher was 16. But because of the weird formatting that Apple II, the famous WAS controller used, where basically everything's software driven, index holes, who the hell needs those type of thing.
You don't. Write your code right.
Yeah, exactly. That's why copy protection on the Apple was such a wow. They did some pretty impressive stuff there. Unless you're trying to back them up, then it sucked. But basically, he's having problems trying to get the disk images as they're normally saved on an Apple II or from an Apple II to fit onto a disk because he wants to try to get them to run on a regular CoCo disks because our CoCo disk has 153K. Even a 16 sector is normally a 120K, but because of all the extra formatting and stuff, it's like a DMK or an SDF file in the CoCo where you're keeping all the hidden bytes that the controller itself sees, and he can't get it to fit on even a 40 track disk, which would be a couple of pokes to get that running. It won't work, so you pretty well almost have to have a double-sided drive or something like that. I'm not sure how he's going to handle that, but at this point, he's basically trying to get AppleSoft Basic working as much as possible. So he still have to add support for high res, etc. But yeah, it's up and running. You can actually type in short basic programs and text or low res graphics, and they actually work. So. Definitely go give it a shot. Let us know next week if you guys could get it running. Maybe we can figure out if it's a certain ROM image that needs to be used or something, and help Todd kind of get things fixed up. But it'd be pretty cool to see this project continue to go on and see what else he can do with it. Next up in the OS9 Nitrous 9 group on Facebook, Brenda Make did a proposal for Retrobus. And she said here, sorry to be a pest, but in the spirit of the S100 bus, I've been trying to plot out a parallel bus that could be used with various retro computers and microcontrollers. And I'm not a hardware guy, so everything past that paragraph I'm lost on. I'll let you guys kind of describe what the heck I'm reading there. but she actually gives a bit of a schematic of stuff here, and she's had some suggestions from people like James Diffendaffer and Joel Reese and others that actually know their hardware. So that'd be kind of interesting if you make something that actually works on multiple machines, like basically any 8-bit computer type thing, like to get some standardized hardware, would might be a kind of a cool thing for certain things. I think the A-Bus, if I remember, tried to do that.
That's it. She's essentially trying to recreate the A-Bus because there are so many issues with merging different CPUs onto one bus that have been solved before.
Yeah, I mean, it's also because different chips do it differently. Like the
timing's
Z80 has
subtly
I/O ports
different
versus
and-
memory mapped on a 68X type thing. So
Well, and even just deciding what is true and what is false and at what level it changes is all subtly different. So it's a complex thing to try to do. But A-Bus was a good start at it. I think.
yeah, it's quite a bit to bite off as a project, I think. But
Yes,
you know, if you can get it working, that'd be pretty cool. Next up, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this magazine. It's actually published in somewhere in Europe, and it's normally, I think it's originally written in a different language. I can't remember where it's from specifically, but they make an English version of it, which is what I'm showing here. And it basically covers retro game consoles and retro computers, right up to like the 32-bit era, almost, right back to the 8-bit era. And they normally don't have much to do with Tandies at all. In this particular issue, the one that just got released here for spring of 2024, issue number 22, it's a free download, so feel free to read it. It's a 70-some-odd page PDF too, so there's a lot in there. And if you're into retro gaming in particular, there's a fair bit of emphasis in gaming, but there is hardware and operating system stuff, technical stuff in here as well. But in this particular issue, they actually have a review of Paul Fiscarelli's MC10 version of his video poker game. And I thought I'd show you guys what that review looks like. It comes well illustrated. You can see a big new game banner here, and this is kind of the game testing review section. So it mentions, at a developer, Shoemaker's Last Software, which is the name of this little software company, gives his itch.io address if you want to go get it yourself. Released in 2023, screenshots all the way through for the MC10 edition. Description of the game itself. Their rating, they gave it a gameplay 70%, longevity 60%, which isn't bad for a card game, honestly. But I'm glad they're starting to get some MC10, CoCo, and Dragon type stuff. I think they had one article on the Dragon, got to be a couple of years ago now, that I think I actually mentioned back then too. What they really need is writers that know the CoCo hardware to send them some articles. So whether you're doing a review of software, or review of hardware, or some technical tips, I would like to see some more CoCo content. I'm not a good writer, so I probably won't volunteer myself here. I thought I'd just show you the table of contents here, so you can see it's like 72 pages here. And I'll just mention a few of the ones here for the audio listeners. So like there's a Nintendo W2, The Unprotections Part 2. Emulate what, how, and why is another article. And then there's stuff on the End Queens problem, which you actually have a solution to that included in Nitrous 9 EOU with basic program by John Driscoll. Does the same thing. Interviews with people that were, part of the hardware and software gurus back in the 70s and 80s. Review of the new Commodore OS for the C64. Review of Lemmings on the Plus 4. There's stuff for the Atari. There's the MC10 one, the Amiga, Vectrix, Atari ST. There's just a ton of stuff in there. So, like I said, it's fairly game oriented, though not strictly. As you like, the Commodore 64 OS review is obviously not a game, but it's a well-rounded magazine, and I'm glad to see it's been picking up. It's getting bigger in size. They're starting to spread out to more systems. Hopefully we'll see some CoCo and stuff here. But if any of you people like to write articles, whether it be a game review or a technical article on something works or something like that, and you want to get it to an international audience, I would definitely suggest maybe submitting to these guys. Maybe you can also send it over to Glenside, and maybe they can get another newsletter out too. But yeah, it's a pretty good magazine. I tend to skim through it because a lot of these systems I don't have or never seen before. So, but it always piques my interest when I see something CoCo related in it. Or Dragon related. Next up, Joel Evie and the MM1 group on Facebook. Now, he's the guy that recently put in a blue SCSI to replace his failing hardware SCSI drive, and it's up and running great. Managed to back up everything onto it, and he's running fast and quiet, etc. But he decided in his MM1 case, and he's one of the people that opted for the tower case because the MM1, as well as some of the Frank Hogg machines, were offered in several different configurations. You get a mini tower, a full-size tower, you get a pizza box style. He's got a mini tower here. Now, the turbo button and the LEDs on the front, which were originally meant for PCs to display the clock speed, don't have much use on MM1 because it's a fixed clock speed. So he decided to do something about that. And he hardwired it without documentation so it'd write the words OS9 instead of actually having a megahertz speed. So that you know you're running a real computer with a real operating system. And then he also started redoing some of the turbo stuff. So in his case, he's got one of the daughter boards that has the 3 and 9 meg memory upgrades. And the turbo button, he's wired to actually turn that on and off instead of using the jumper. So if you want to test something with that would run on a stock 1 meg MM1 to make sure it works properly if you're doing development, etc., he can actually just hit that switch, reboot with that, and then he runs as a 1 meg. Or you can hit the switch again, and then he's back to the 3 to 9 meg board, which I thought a pretty good idea. And he's going to start writing some software. I know a few people, even David Ladd is thinking of digging his MM1 out again with something like a Blue SCSI or something to try to get it up and running, because a lot of the SCSI drives from the 90s when this came out are definitely failing. So, and basically a Blue SCSI is an SD card style thing, just like a CoCo SDC, except now you can use it on TC70s and Kicks 20s and Kicks 30s and System 4s and 5s from Delamar and MM1. So cool, but I just like the little hack he did, so it says OS9 right in there, brightly lit up as soon as you turn the machine on. That's awesome.
And you don't have to turn it upside down.
Alan Huffman did a bunch of posts. Now, earlier, I thought I had seen him post a bunch of pictures of Steve Bjork from some of their meetings, like when they were going to go to Disneyland, because they're both really heavy into the Disneyland stuff and a bunch of other things too, but I can't find those anymore. So I don't know if he removed him or if Facebook's stupid algorithm's hiding from me again. I hate Facebook, but all right. He posted some other ones here. So this is Alan Huffman when he visited Alan Battinger in Dallas, and I hope I pronounced his last name right because I usually get it wrong. How many of you are familiar with the OS9 archive, rtsi.com, that was around for decades for archiving stuff for 68K and OS9 6809?
Oh, yeah.
Ron says yes. Patrick says yes.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, and myself as well. Well, what you're looking at here in this picture is the OS9 archive.
Oh, really?
That's actually what it was running on at the time. This is back in 1997. And for those of you who've ever played around with OS 9000, which is the cross-chip version, yeah, Rick's holding up the OS 9. That must be 68K, or?
I've got that same set of manuals on the shelf up over my head.
Was that the OS 9000 or is that the OS 68K you
it's
got?
the 9000 manual set, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, if you look in the background here, because we had this at work too, we actually ran it on a 386 for a bit there, but that entire set is the OS 9 with the Ultra C compiler and a bunch of other things included. And of course, Alan is one of the people that took over OS 9 after Microware disappeared, and they actually have the legal rights to it now, so they resell it. And they've been making versions now for ARM that you can actually order from them on their own Facebook group for Microware. So if you're interested in that, definitely head them up. We had Alan on our show as a guest too. He was an interview guest we had probably a couple of years ago now, I think. But yeah, he's the guy who was running the RTSI archive, and I sent stuff up there. I've downloaded stuff off there. It was a great resource, and I think it's still around, isn't it, Rick?
I haven't tried recently. So
it was an FTP site, but I think it's still around.
Is he a Star Trek guy? Look at that tricorder on him.
No, he's more of a Doctor Who guy, if anything, or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
Yep.
42.
Yep.
Where's his towel?
And
he's
your
a cool
towel,
fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a fruity dude.
He's just this guy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just remember your towel and have your house go. Here he is talking a bit about Steve Bjork. And he says, I'll just read this text out for the audio listeners here. Steve Bjork did a lot of work in the haunted house industry, which we were talking about earlier, haunt hackers. He had a home haunt, www.scarylane.com, which is in the archive.org. You can actually go see what it looks like. And was partners with another guy named Steve Kosey, who also passed away a little bit, I think, before Steve did, but not by much, for the haunt hackers. And he actually took a bit of a screenshot from the archive here of some of the stuff that he's doing. And one of the things he mentions here that Steve wrote a little bit of an article on is that one One of the things Steve did, and I remember he showed videos of us to us on the CoCo Talk show, where he would have like a talking skull, a little robot skull thing that would talk in time with the voice coming out over. And he said most of the other people that were doing this kind of thing back in the day would base the jaw opening and closing of the skull for talking based on the volume level. So it never quite looked right, like it was matching the actual voice. What Steve did here is he did basically the same thing he did on the CoCo audio spectrum analyzer way back in 1981. So it actually would be able to tell the talking part of it versus just volume, and it would actually time the actual opening and closing with the actual speech going on. So the algorithms he used 40 years ago is what he used on the modern one to get the some of the best animatronic type stuff going. So that was pretty fascinating to see that. I do remember he demoed that for us way back when too. So yeah, we miss you, Steve. That would have been awesome to see that again at the fest. And another one that he got, this is a picture, and unfortunately, at the time he took this picture in 1996, he had a little tiny Epson Photo PC digital camera, and it was before he managed to get a memory upgrade for it. And I don't know if you guys remember digital cameras back that far long ago, but it only shot in 320 by 240, which is not much bigger than the CoCo screen. So what you see here, that's as good as it's going to get. If I zoom it up, it's just a blur. So the first one on the left is pretty easy to tell. Was when Steve Bjork was the keynote speaker at one of the Rainbow Fests. So everybody who did that got a plaque. Rick Adams did one. I think Dale Lear. I can't remember who else has done them, but there's quite a few. Whoever did the breakfast seminars, and every Rainbow Fest, whether you're at Princeton or Chicago or whatever, you got that type of thing. The one on the right, Alan was trying to remember because he thinks that was from Datasoft itself to commemorate a certain number of sales of Zaxxon for the CoCo. Unfortunately, that is not something we can read on the engraving here. I have no idea if this ended up in any of the Steve Bjork lots that have gone on sale from the estate sale. I have not seen him on any of them. I don't know if any of you have been watching some of those auctions, have seen it. Is Brian Wiesler still on the call? I was wondering if maybe because he's kept close track of these auctions more than most people, and I don't know if he's seen this particular item.
He
probably has that sitting somewhere.
I'm just thinking, wow, CoCoFest never gave me a plaque.
No, this is Rainbow Fest. This is back when people had money.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what, Rick, we'll give you a really nice Post-it note.
Really nice plaque.
I'll get you a free cup of coffee. How's that?
Roger Taylor got a bunch of stuff. We'll see if he has something coming up.
Tell you what, I'll buy you a free cup of coffee.
Sweet.
But yeah, that I would like interesting to see because that's one thing I don't know is what were the sales of Zaxxon like. Would this include when Zaxxon was sold as a separate thing by Datasoft itself directly, which it was in the early days before Tandy bought the rights to exclusively distribute it, or if this includes the ones sold through Tandy, and what were the sales figures like? The only few programs I do know are like Temple of Rom and Bust Out. And that varies quite wildly. I think Temple of Rome is around 40,000 copies, I think, Rick has said. And Bust Out is between 250 to 300,000 copies because it's an older program, so it's around longer. So I'm kind of curious, for a 32K game that was originally sold a cassette or disc, not anything else. Tandy only sold it as cassette. Not quite sure why.
No, I know why.
Cheap?
No, Steve. No, for once, that's not the answer to this question. It's called. This goes back to the infamous story that Steve, I believe, told on the program at one point about Marty Goodman putting out the flyers for being able to crack the copy protection on Zaxxon, and that's what killed it being on disc through Radio Shack. And if I remember, did cost Mr. Bjork quite a bit of money, and he was quite upset about that, at least for quite some time.
I do that. He actually talked about that on that CoCo Conversations podcast that lasted 6 episodes. Yeah, he talked about it on there with Marty. Actually, the two that we're talking about. It was kind of fun.
Oh wow.
It's still irritating. All of the inscribing on this plaque, you can see Datasoft at the end. That's the only legible thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried zooming it up, and I mean,
what does it say?
Wait a minute. Here's the actual size.
Kurt, what you're forgetting to do, Curtis, you have to hit enhance like they do on the shows.
Enhance.
A bunch of us in the comments were trying that. It doesn't work here. It says copy protected from enhance.
hence, oh, maybe you should run that through some of that AI stuff. Maybe it'll.
Yeah, I can make up some numbers and stuff on there.
You can
then,
make
yeah.
up words. Yes.
We'll know what it says. whether
It'll
it says
say
it or
like
not.
Steve Bjork, and then under it says purple monkey dishwasher.
Yeah,
always bring your.
It'd be
towel.
like asking AI to write 609 code and they keep sticking 6502 registers and stuff in there. Yeah.
Yep, Bruce.
Anyway, I don't know if this ended up being in one of the auctions. If it does, hopefully somebody will actually just take a high-res photo of it, so just so we can see what it says there.
We'll see what Mr. Taylor has.
And see, this is why back in those days I still carried a 35 millimeter camera, because the digital cameras just weren't up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Ron, do you know, is Roger planning on doing scans and stuff? If there's anything unique that we haven't seen before?
Roger
or-
says it's going to take him a few months to go through all the stuff that he bought.
Oh.
Oh.
And he got a lot, I guess.
Oh, wow. Cool. I'm glad I went to somebody that actually knows the CoCo instead of some of these flippers we've been seeing before.
And I told him, I said, so you're not going to come on our show and all that stuff's going to be locked in your head and we don't get to share.
Well, even
There
if
you
he
go, Seamus.
even if he like uploads like manuals or source code listings, depending what he's got, you know, so that we can share it on the
Says he has
archive.
source code.
He said he does have source code?
He says he does have source code.
Yeah, well,
said
if he
he has
archives it, he doesn't
all
have to come on the
source
show.
code.
Just make sure it's available for people to look at instead of being
Yeah,
hoarded up in
I
an
told
attic
him
somewhere.
He can come on and talk. You don't have to have your face on. I said, look what Nick Marentes does.
Rewrite
Hold on.
Neutroid 15 times? I don't know what that has to do with anything.
No, he's sitting in his bathrobe.
Yeah.
If I wrote Neutroid, I wouldn't want to show my face either.
Oh, cheap shot.
That's
what we're about here.
And when we pass the savings on to you, the viewer and listener of this program.
Roger has a lot to, how do you say, contribute. And
Yeah.
he just has to
Well, he's
get
done some
over
great
the
programs. I
shock
mean,
of-
he did some of the earliest CoCo3 public domain games.
Well, look at NetMate.
The very first 609 game ever made, the projector, which was for viewing GIFs and stuff, far more advanced than anything else back in the day.
He has a CoCo
Mary and the
channel.
Butterflies game that he did for Mary Kramer. I mean, he's done a ton of stuff. So yeah, I would
Got
love
a
to have him on the
CoCo
show.
channel on Roku.
Yeah. Which actually, if he wants to do that again, I mean, there was a bit of a disagreement between him and Stevie because Stevie wanted to monetize, blah, blah. I don't think the rest of us care. So if he wants to do it again, I'm totally fine with it. I don't know about the rest of you guys on the TED panel, but I think any place we can put the CoCoNation show, go for it.
Yeah,
I
we're
wouldn't
okay
have any
with
problem.
a long distance relationship, right?
I'm open for the exposure.
Yeah, I am
See, we
too.
know
So
we
maybe
come on,
mention
we
that
could
to
talk
Ron because
about
maybe that's why he has a bad taste in his mouth because him and Stevie got in a bit of a fight and that's when he yanked the CoCo
Right.
Talk show off the Roku. And that's, that has nothing to do with us anymore. So maybe we can.
Yeah, I just told him, he was asking me what exactly happened. And in a nutshell, I told him and he said, oh, so it's like he wasn't aware of the status of CoCo Talk.
Yeah, maybe approach him from that angle then, because I do know there was a pretty heated disagreement between the two of them on that, and I don't think that would be an issue at all anymore. We'd welcome the extra exposure, and I think he would
could
welcome
be
the fact he wouldn't have to
listening right
fight
now.
with anybody over it.
He
Ron,
could be
are you
there.
able to take him to lunch?
No, I think where does he live? I don't even know. He's in Arkansas or something. Or
Oh, that's just a short commute for you. You can have a lunch meeting with
So
him.
he's
You
in
can be back by next Tuesday.
What was that, Mark? Did you say you know where he lives, or?
I thought he lived in Texas.
Oh, it could be.
Oh, that's even closer for you, Ron.
The other
You
side
guys
of
could, you two of you can meet up at VCF Southwest in June.
Right. Everyone's in Dallas.
He
or
could just
Frisco,
come on
so-
the show and we get to meet him.
Well,
back
like I
in the
said,
day-
approach him with the fact that the bad blood that was between him and the previous version of the
guy's
show is
gone,
no
yeah.
longer there. It's gone. The antagonist is no longer here for that.
He was thinking I was getting paid for asking him to come on, and encouraging him and everything. I said, no, I do it because I like the CoCo, nothing else.
Yep, that's the whole point of the
I
show.
would take the money.
Exactly.
I would take the money. Geez, how many free copies am I have to give out this damn fest here?
I think this is going to be a division by zero air, Ron.
I think so.
Just
The
like all of our pay.
6209 can
but,
handle it.
In all seriousness, would love to have him on the program, and everything else is just far as I hope is just water under the bridge.
He's worried about sitting for a long time. I said, you can be on for a half an hour or an hour and then
Yeah,
go.
he can make it a series if he wants to. Like, if he wants to do 10 minutes a
absolutely.
day, that's fine.
Whatever he is comfortable with, we will do our best to
we will accommodate.
Absolutely. Anything he would like to do is greatly appreciated. And that we could make it a series. It could be
like Ron's Garage started out, where you did a little segment for 10 minutes every week for a year.
Exactly. It could be a spin-off of in the same vein like you just said there. Awesome.
And he can plug his current products like NetMate and stuff too that he still works on. Or as Tom Eric Gunson was asking in the chat here, is he the one who did the unofficial Mr. FPJ court? Yes, that is the same guy. So he can talk about that too, because I think a lot of people aren't too aware of that, because there's now some free ones as well, because Roger charges for his, but they're not as close to the CoCo as Rogers are. Rogers are the most accurate.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, keep trying, Ron, and if he wants to contact me or somebody else on the public face of the show, then have him. I've talked to him a few times, back in the past, but
He was pretty excited about what he got from Mr. Bjork's sale.
Yeah, I can imagine. Cool. All right, the next one up from Alan. He did part 4 of his Let's Write Lights Out in Basic. And this is where he's taking a program for the CoCo3 written in Basic that Rick Adams did. And if you guys have ever been to Cracker Barrel, you probably played this game on the physical version of it. And it goes through a bit more of the history and stuff here too. Here's the pegboard as it appears, in a modern version of it. But he's rewriting this to run in color basic, extended basic, not even required. So this eventually could make it to the MC10 as well. So this is part 4. And I did notice, because he writes these things way ahead of time, and he kind of has a release scheduler that runs through. There's still a parts 4, 5, 6, and 7 coming, or 5, 6, and 7 coming, because this is part 4. So there's more to come yet. But this actually gets more into the programming side of things. Figuring out the odds and how to check to see if you can move the pieces, et cetera, there too, and explanation, et cetera. So it's a whole series on how to port this game. So look forward to that. Speaking of Steve Bjork, and I don't know who this is Mr. CoCo Roger Taylor, or is it somebody else? I have no idea. Like Brian Wiesler mentioned, he picked up a few CoCo3 bits from the auctions from the Steve Bjork estate. This is another one. This is a fully populated with motherboard. Now, I won't play the whole thing. It's 7 minutes, and there's no commentary. He just basically records himself going through it, taking the case off, etc. I can fast forward to show you a picture, but basically it's a 1986 gimme, a stock 6809, and a Cloud9 512K SIM memory upgrade. Let's see here. Yeah, so you can kind of see it's pretty well stock. It's got the 6809 not upgraded to a 639. That's the Cloud9 512K SIM upgrade. 1986 gimme.
The ROM is socketed.
Yeah, I did notice the ROM is socketed, yeah. I don't know if he did some custom things to it, or if he maybe wrecked the chip and had to replace it or something. I'm not sure, but anyway, the video, which is almost 8 minutes long, is just him taking the case apart in silence and then holding it up, and you can see, like, he shows you the bottom and stuff, which has a regular serial number 1,020,000 something, or just a regular run CoCo3. The only thing a little bit different here is the socketed ROM and also the 512K upgrade. That's not a Tandy one, but other than that, it's stock.
Did that one run hot too, or they all do?
The sim ones don't generally run too hot. They're actually fairly cool. I had one in mine for a while too. And of course, the modern static RAM ones are really nice and cool. Plus, they let you overclock with a Gimme X. Okay, I'm not going to let the sound go here. Bob, you're still here? Bob Emery?
I am here. Is my mic working?
Yep. So this is your PC joystick conversion, and I know you had a little bit of an issue that you mentioned during the show of crossing, I think, was it to the axes you crossed over?
Yeah, I got the X and Y. Basically, the axes were correct, but the 5 volts and ground I got backwards on the pots.
Ah.
So I could flip the joystick upside down and it worked normal.
Buttons on the bottom, you're all good.
Strange how voltage dividers work that way.
Yeah, I actually do that in the video when I start playing Popstar and it's backwards. I flip the joystick over.
See, if you're playing neutral, you wouldn't even notice because it just doesn't control properly.
What is this doing? What is it doing?
Anyway, this is a bit of a different craft joystick you're doing here. This is not one of the crafts that looks like a Deluxe, which was sold for the PC and the Apple and the CoCo and a bunch of others. But this one actually has a button on the top of the joystick itself that you hit with your thumb.
Yeah.
2 buttons on the main base. It's still got the XY adjustment pots, spring load on off, with the switches on the bottom. What is your feel of this version of a craft joystick versus the one that Tandy sold?
I actually like this one better. It feels just a little bit, I don't know, it feels less like on the Deluxe, the travel just seems too far, maybe because it's such a thin handle.
Yeah.
But the thick handle on this gives it a really good kind of arcade feel. But the problem that I did have with it is that button on top of the stick is actually button 1, and the 2 on the body are joystick button 2.
Oh, that would suck because I prefer usually using my other hand for the button.
I would like 1 and 2, and then maybe something different on top. But
yeah, and then on the
that's
game
what's
on
wrong.
challenge, on the game on challenge, I was trying to hold that button 1 down while going through
Moving around.
whatever game it was.
Right.
And yeah, that was just not a happy experience. So the very next day, I got inside and I swapped the button wires around. So both buttons on the base are button 1, and the one on top is button 2 now, and it seems to work pretty well. I like it.
Hey, Bob, was this more expensive than the other craft ones?
I paid $5 for this joystick, but on eBay they're going for about 30, 35.
Yeah, they're all.
What I meant was new. You know, if you were.
I have no idea. I never saw these new.
Yeah, I didn't see this one before either. Did you get any of you guys on the panel see this one back in the day, as opposed to?
No,
I've seen some like it, but I think it was another brand. But
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Didn't well, Kraft did make a lot of different branded ones, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of
they made
Kraft
joysticks for
created were
everyone.
sold under different names for different companies. Yeah,
I know they sold these for the Apple as well as PC, because just from watching YouTube videos, people talking about the Apple version, but I had never seen these before.
Well, I always enjoyed their, cheese.
Mhm.
So are the 2 buttons in the body separate buttons?
No, they are tied together. If you want to separate them, you'll have to cut a trace on that
saw
board.
on the circuit board and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
yeah, that would be the only hang up on this one here because I'd prefer the left and right to be button 1 and button 2, and then probably pick button 1 for the top one on the stick itself.
Well, and then you want another switch, so the button 1 on top can be either one of the other 2, just depending on the game you're in. And
All of a sudden we have
thing, but
all of a sudden we have feature creep on a joystick mod.
$50 joystick for the CoCo.
The CoCoNation is nothing without feature creep.
Yeah, the interesting thing, if you look at the bottom of the case, there's actually a hole and there's a cutout for a switch and a hole for I think a potentiometer, probably for auto fire, but you could easily use it to make a switch that reroutes the buttons.
Oh, there's a deoxid.
I noticed. I noticed Mark Overholzer has brought in an actual Apple joystick. I'm assuming, which is fairly similar. So I'm going to stop sharing so you can share and put it on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, give me a minute.
So this is
everybody at home can
CH
see.
Products.
A sec there. Mark has to run back to his computer to.
Yeah.
He's off in bed having a nap, I believe.
Yeah.
Fending off cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, CH is a big brand in themselves.
I'll say something, Mark. You'll be highlighted.
Wrong
there
one.
you are.
There we go. Yeah. No, what are you on me for?
Well, because it's on whoever talks gets highlighted.
I'll just highlight Mark for now.
I'm trying to get there.
There
Mark, home.
Boy, that was a deep sleep you were in.
There we go.
Oh, any co-host should be able to pin him.
So this is CH Products, but you'll notice that the
except I
handle
forgot
is
to make
about
those today.
Very, very similar.
Yeah, the handle design. So, and it's
Now
got
it looks like the
adjustments
XY pod adjuster. Is that actually a dial?
Yeah, these are little dials here. I
That's
believe this is a trim, and then I believe these are for locking it. Down the switches are to lock it.
Oh, okay, so different mechanism entirely.
Okay.
Kraft has a really interesting little double sliding arrangement. So the pot turns on one axis and the little adjusting thing turns another one, and then they melt the two together.
The Commoner Chronicles is saying I have one of the CH product sticks I need to clean up though. Is that a CH product, brand?
Yeah, is a CH, yeah.
So that one must use a separate little trim pot rather than a clever mechanical arrangement to do the centering.
That'd be my guess. He's like, oh, yeah,
Because of the way it's kind of put together with having the knobs. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels seems like a little potentiometer.
If you don't like a joystick, then it wouldn't be a joystick. It would.
No, it's a bummer stick.
Unjoystick.
Yeah.
I should call mine a throw stick then, because when I suck at a game, I throw it against the wall. No, I'm just kidding.
I believe if it's not a joystick, if it's the opposite, I believe those are the Atari 5200 controllers.
You are correct. You are correct, sir.
Okay.
Which ironically are pretty close to a Black Beauty, except the buttons are worse.
You know, a Black Beauty can fall from 3 feet and not break thousands of times.
Right.
I can honestly say though, a Black Beauty will break if you hurl it against the wall. I did not do that myself, but I was with somebody who was playing a game on a CoCo 1, got mad, threw it against the wall, and it shattered.
That's why the cords are so short.
Hello, Percy, if you're watching this.
Not to name names.
Anyway, definitely go check out Bob's video. And if you have any questions about converting that stick over, you can actually ask him on our Discord.
Yep.
Next up, Primal-Bits. I'm not sure who that is. That's his channel on YouTube. And this is kind of a follow-up because he did a YouTube short that we played last week or the week before. I think it was last week, which basically he received a CoCo2 finally. And the keyboard is a bit broken. It's certain keys are not working. So he goes and delves into it. And as he mentioned in the short video premiere or kind of pre-run to this, he was going to try 2 different methods to fix it. One of which is using the conductive paint. So fast forward a little bit here. So of course, this is the old Mylar with, conductive paint is to fix these traces if they get worn off or just, wear off on their own type thing. So you got the conductive pen where you can kind of paint it in and try to fix it that way. Now, from the people that have done that, and it's basically the same stuff as used to fix a rear window defogger type thing, conductive paint. My understanding is, and I've never done it myself, so I'm not speaking from experience. From what I've heard, it sounds like they do work, but they're usually pretty short-lived. Is that accurate?
Yes, nothing sticks to Mylar.
That's right.
Nothing sticks to Mylar. No pens, no inks. Tandy couldn't make their traces stick to Mylar forever. And so you're kind of fighting a losing battle trying to get conductive pen to...
Well, what made it stick in the first place was the fact that the paint had some flexibility to it for a while, and then it got brittle.
Oh.
Well, but it's also meant to stick on glass, which does have... You can stick things on glass. You can't stick things on Mylar, which is what this stuff is made of. So
Mylar vents, right?
Yeah, it's a plastic that nothing will stick to. So any repair you make is temporary. Tandy did the best that could be done, and even though it doesn't really move, it's still flaking off and cracking.
Right.
So it's kind of scary.
I mean, honestly, because of that, there are some people that are making replacement Mylars I've seen, but you're going to get the same problem later on anyway, from the sounds of it. Because if the conductive paint can't stick to the Mylar, you're just temporarily warding it off. I would recommend, plug for Rick here, and you can give the web address, Rick, but you have a thing called KeyFix, which is actually uses switches, etc. And actually, it still uses the original CoCo keyboard. So if you prefer having your original CoCo 2 keyboard or CoCo 3 keyboard, you still get to keep the keys and everything else, but it will actually replace it with actual switches. And you get a couple different kinds of switches. You have slightly louder ones, almost like the old IBM classic keyboards, and some quieter ones. But that solves it by becoming mechanical switches. There's none of this paint crap at all, right?
Yeah, we're going to have the same conversation on our 654th show, 5 years from now.
Well,
it's going to have that video on.
The whole idea here is it still looks like a CoCo. It still works like a CoCo. But it can be repaired now because it's copper traces on a circuit board and wires and switches that can be bought
Yeah. And it actually feels better than the stock CoCo one, which was not bad. The CoCo3 keyboard, it actually is not horrible, aside from, the Mylar problems. But it actually feels a bit more like a proper clickable keyboard, which I like. I'm one of the people that did like the IBM PC original keyboards. I know some people think it's too loud.
I'll make a sales point about that. You can set the key fix so that the key trips before it bottoms out. Where on a Mylar, basically, you've got to bottom it out to type.
Yeah, which means you can type a bit faster because you don't have to like nail the key down hard every time.
Right. You can set it so that somewhere in mid-stroke it clicks over, and so if you like to type lightly, you can do that. Which you
So
can
Rick, what made you come up with the idea that you should make those? I mean, other than the fact, or is it the main fact that yours did not work?
Yeah, I had like 8 or 9 that didn't work, so I needed a decent solution. I mean, I have a bunch of leftover CoCos from back in the 90s when I had the company and stuff that just sat around. And so when I dug everything out, it was all broken. So it was time to come up with some solutions.
Yeah. And the nice thing about your solution, you've also got the little switch if you're getting a CoCo3 keyboard where you can actually flip the switch and it'll switch the Alt and Control keys to become duplicates of the up and down arrows.
Well,
so a lot of the CoCo2 1 and 2 games were set up if they're keyboard controlled to be two-handed, left and right with your right hand, up and down with your left hand. And when they went to the diamond configuration, those games became possible because you had to like twist your thumb in knots to try to play the stupid game. And the Wrek solution for that actually solves that problem too. So it's actually not only replacing the Mylar and fixing your keyboard to work, it actually gives an improvement over the CoCo3 keyboard for playing some CoCo 1 and 2 games.
Yeah, I've been watching the show too long. Features just kept creeping in there.
Yeah.
So would you guys say that really the keyboard is the weakest part of the color computer? Otherwise, when you get a machine in the mail or something,
just the Mylar sheet,
it works.
Everything else is great. The keys are never going to wear out. They're double shot. The letters will never come off. The internal mechanism is bulletproof. The springs are never going to break. It's just that little sheet of Mylar. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
It's just junk. By now.
Yep. Anyway, Mark posted the link into the chat, but just in case you're on audio and can't see that, it's Computer Connect, and Connect is purposely spelt wrong as CONECT.com. And Rick's got a few things that you can order on there, including something that he'll be talking about tomorrow, I think, at your presentation for the virtual CoCoFest, but also the key fix. And he's got various key fixes available for the various types of keyboards. I think you cover CoCo3, all the CoCo2 models that you know of?
Everything except one, the CoCo melty keyboard that is electrically welded together, so it doesn't have screws. It's got melted down posts on the back that hold it together.
Oh, okay.
We don't do that one. Everything else we do. CoCo 1, 2, 3.
Oh, so you even do the chiclet CoCo ones as well?
Right. We just
okay, cool.
We just don't do that one sonically welded mess.
Is it because it's impossible to put it back together?
That and other reasons. Yeah, that keyboard has a lot of problems. Tandy got rid of it really quick for a very good reason.
Anyway, definitely check out the video if you want to see a person experimenting with a couple different ways to fix a CoCo keyboard Mylar. Though like I said, I would recommend, especially if you prefer the feel of mechanical keyboards, but you don't have to like buy an entirely brand new one. Like Ed Snyder does provide that even with custom keycaps. But it's about twice as expensive as what Wrek has, and you basically replace the entire keyboard unit, including the keys themselves. Which I mean, I did for one of mine too, because I have all my extra little bits for all the OS9 characters that are special. But for game playing, I use Wrek's because it doesn't have the option of swapping the Alt control for up and down arrow.
Rick, do you see there's different color Mylars, aren't there?
What do you mean?
Is there a green one and a clear one?
No, they're all clear. They've got a black conductive bit and a silver sticky bit, and they're all kind of the same.
Do you have an opinion on which keyboards seem to last longer, or are they all equally the same?
No, they're all kind of equally the same. The process used to glue the traces on the Mylar lasts so long, and we're at that point.
Okay.
It's like Amigas with caps. Because they're at that point because they were done with those later capacitors that just aren't as good a quality as the really old ones were. Yeah. And they just explode and corrode your boards and stuff. And a lot of people are hitting that if they find an Amiga. And
So if it's not wrecked already, fix it now, is what you're saying on those
Yeah.
Amigas. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten many of those deluxe CoCo keyboards to fix?
I think it's exactly the same as a CoCo3, except the color of the plastic.
It's a
isn't it?
CoCo3 keyboard, except the color of the plastic. I have a couple of them that I bought back in the day, and they lasted about as long as the other ones. Okay. So.
Yeah. Next up, we have Mark Dusko in the MC10 group on Facebook. And he decided he wanted to make a composite video out. Now, of course, those are available for sale from Ed and a few others. Though, of course, with Ed, with all the products and rotating through them all, being a one-man operation, it's hit or miss whether you can actually get it at any particular time. But he decided to do his own right from scratch, and he took some pictures of the screen result from it, which looks pretty good, and actual schematics and stuff here. Or not schematics, but pictures of the actual modifications in the RF can, etc. And he mentions here, if there's interest, I can write up some instructions and share the video driver schematic. I know we've got quite a few composite boards for the CoCo. I don't know if do we have any alternatives aside from going way out there like CoCo VGA and stuff. I don't know if we have too many for the MC10, so that might be interesting for people with MC10s and just not able to get one of Ed's boards. But if you are interested in and want to get the schematics, you can build your own based on this. And looking at the screen, I'll just zoom up here. What is call it a screen here? It's not actually too bad at all. And just if you can go on the MC10 group on Facebook and just post a reply saying, yes, I'd like to see the schematic, then if he gets enough interest, he'll actually publish the full schematic, and then people can upgrade their MC10s to composite out rather than just RF. Switching over to the Dragon now. And Go Farts, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. My apologies if I'm not. Is offering a Dragon 32 power supply unit replacement board, which lets you run the Dragon 32 from a single regulated 12-volt, 1-amp power supply. And he posted that in the Facebook group for the Dragon specifically. You can see the picture of the board here. And it's also available for sale on sellmyretro.com, which is, of course, based in Europe. Price isn't too bad, £18.99. I have heard from some people, though, that if you're ordering to North America, the shipping is quite a bit. So you'll have to decide whether that's worth it to you or not. But if you live in Europe or in the UK, I think this actually is a pretty decent deal. Now, there's other power supply replacement units from, is it Julian? Oh, no, John Wetwith, I think, is the one that sells those on Dragon Plus Electronics. So that's alternative. I don't know what the differences between the two are.
So does this make it so that you just plug in a cord like that fits into your tape recorder into the back of the Dragon?
Ooh. I don't know, you're talking hardware. That's not my expertise. So anybody else in the panel?
Well, it looks like that's
probably, if you're saying the input is 12 volts, yeah, you use wall wart.
Yeah, so this one just uses a 12-volt wall wart, and you don't need the Dragon supply that dies, right?
Oh, I see. I thought maybe, it had like a tape recorder 110 plug-in on the back there.
Well,
yeah, I'm just reading his description here. He said the board fits in place of the original board and uses 2 of the original screws to fix it in place. A 9-way cable connects to the power supply connector or the Dragon main board. The PSU board accepts regulated 12-volt DC on a 2.1 by 5.5 millimeter center positive barrel jack. DC to DC converters generate the plus and minus 5 volts required by the Dragon. 12 volts is used directly. Reverse polarity protection is implemented. External PSU not included, so you have to get the wall wart yourself. The composite video and audio connections are routed to a 5-pin 180-degree DIN jack. However, no RF modulator is provided. And I imagine most people these days are probably running composite rather than RF. These
right, because TV mod. That's right. The Dragon had the TV modulator and the power supply on the weird little board with a multi-volt outside connection thing, and that's all gone now. And you got this thing.
Yeah, and if I remember what the conversion rates, I haven't checked lately, but I think you guys are pretty close on par with the US dollar between that and euro, or the pound, I should say. So I'm guessing this is probably around $20 US.
Right,
Though, like I said, the shipping might be astronomical.
You'll want to buy 25 of them to make up the shipping.
Yeah, and then resell them or something. I don't know how many. There's enough Dragons out here to warrant that, but. Next about that, Stephen Goodwin has posted in the Dragon users group as well. He's got his Dragon Docker container for developing Dragon 32 code up on his GitHub site for free download. He's currently only tested it on Linux. It contains scripts to build a container and another to run it. So this is his original post on Facebook. I'll go straight to his GitHub here. And some of you developers that use a lot of the container stuff will probably explain this better than I do. I'm old school. I just do a semi-language on the CoCo itself.
Yeah, Docker's slick, gotta say.
So do you want to explain it for people that don't know what that is, like me?
Well, so basically, if you're building something for Docker, nothing else on your computer matters. So you don't have to worry about, do I have the right version of C? Do I have the right version of this? Do I have the right version of that? The thing you build for Dragon has exactly what it wants, exactly what it needs all the time. I'm not really keen on the details because you never have to be. It just works. So
okay. Anyway, it's a free download for anybody who wants to try it. Definitely Dragon 32 eccentric. I'm assuming this probably could be modified to run on the CoCo fairly simply, I would imagine. But anyway, it's a programming tool for the Dragon, which is kind of cool.
It says the Docker container contains XROR. So
right. So nothing else will mess up your Dragon XROR if you have some different XROR that you're working on the same machine. That's separate. So.
I will mention too, Kieran has been actively working on XROR, getting it to run Deluxe CoCo stuff. So not only does Tim Linder's modification to MAME allow you to run the Deluxe CoCo, and I noticed the Color Computer Archive actually has the Dragon. The Deluxe CoCo's 32K ROM is now uploaded there, so you have it available to run in MAME and XROR. So if you want to grab that, it's just the binary, of course. And then there's one other story I wanted to mention here in closing, that there's no screenshot or anything to talk about specifically. But and I have not had a chance to try this. I don't know if anybody in the panel has. I think Exile in Paradise, Alan Murphy did try it, and it seems to be working. But as many of you know, Ease of Use 609 has not run under the CoCo SDC's firmware 1.27. Darren Atkinson in the Nitrocine EOU channel on the CoCo Discord has uploaded a new version of the firmware that is supposed to fix this problem. And like I said, Alan tried it out last night and said it does work on his machine. And now we'll boot the 609 version of EOU, so that might solve the problem. We can get all the extra features that he's added in, as well as now getting a bug fix. I'm going to be applying it this weekend. I didn't get a chance to before the show. So thank you very much, Darren. And I will thank you a second time next week if it works properly on my machine as well, because it's one thing I've really been missing. So I backed up my firmware to the previous version. But he did add some pretty cool features. So
everybody loves playing with the 6309.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Frederic's doing overclocked 609, so he's even going beyond us.
Right, yeah. Slackers.
So yeah, big thanks to Darren. But if you want to try it out, this is not uploaded anywhere else that I know of. I don't even know if it's on Darren's blog site. But if you go into the Nitrocine EOU channel on the CoCo Discord, you can actually download it now and give it a shot. You can run it on the CoCo. It's actually a disk image. You run the CoCo and it'll update the firmware from the CoCo itself. Just need a SDC plugged in. And there's some instructions you can follow to specifically do that. So everybody else can give it a try too. Let us know what your results are. I'm going to be trying it later this weekend myself, and I'll report back next week.
One reason to have two SDCs,
which I do have,
is to try it on one. If it's successful.
What I would do, if you want to be safe, if you only have one SDC, is I would keep the 1.21. Is that the previous version that works? And then download this new 1.28 and create the disk images on real disks first. Like if you have real hard floppy drives.
There you go.
And then, have a version of each there. And then if it fails and you have a multi-pack, you can just load in the disk off the real disk for the previous firmware, flash it back to the old one, so you're still up and running your CoCo SDC. Or, I mean, basically this only is really applicable if you have a 609 base system you're trying to boot Nitrous 9 from, so you can still boot the 6809 version. You should still be able to boot up in BASIC to reflash the firmware. Unfortunately, the one thing you might have to worry about is if you accidentally have a problem or like a power failure in the middle of the update. Or I think Roger Taylor, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but I think Roger was trying to do an update and it actually locked his SCC up. He can't even use it at all.
So does anyone know what chip that firmware is on?
Is it on the CPLD itself? I don't even remember.
Well, there's like 4 of them in there. Pick one.
The instructions may say so.
Yeah,
You
or you
know.
can ask Darren. Darren's been active on the Discord lately, so if the person who created the SDC is there, you can ask him.
I'm just wondering because I've blown up some SDCs. I still have one blown up SDC that I know the 4 of the 5 chips are good. So it may well be that I've got a good version of the old firmware that I could just plug the chip into my. Okay,
Nick,
I'll
you got
check.
a replacement firmware chip because the chip failed, didn't you?
Yeah.
Would you remember what chip that was?
It's a square one.
Wasn't the big square one.
It was one of the black
So,
ones.
I know U4 blows
The
out
black
a
one
lot.
had pins on it.
Jason.
I do know U4 burns out a lot or blows up for whatever reason, but I don't know if that's where the firmware is stored.
It wasn't one of the square CPLDs.
It was not, you said?
It was not. It was the longer one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't know which one on mine was bad, and so I sent it back to Zipster, and he fixed it and sent it back to me.
The long one is actually the little Atmel chip, the 328P.
Yeah, that's
like
it.
it's using Arduinos. Yeah, so it's actually a microcontroller.
Yeah, and that's the one that did. Yeah.
Okay,
So when
yeah,
that
that's the
blows,
one
you can't do firmware updates or anything else, or it locks up the whole thing. Or
Yeah, it was faulty and had to replace it.
Okay.
Retro rewind.
Luckily, those are fairly easy to get. I have a whole couple tubes of them I
Yeah,
use for the
yeah.
mouse adapters.
Hear that, Roger?
Is that a
Taylor?
Surface?
No,
Is
they're
that a-
dip.
No, that's
They're
that's
dip?
the one
Okay,
through.
good.
Yeah, that's a through, and then there's a bunch of what do you call it?
PLCC.
PLCCs. Yeah.
Yeah, the others are PLCC format.
Sockets are so nice, aren't they?
Oh,
They are for
They're
the stuff
handy.
we do.
yeah, for home project stuff, if you want to manufacture in
Well,
bulk, not so much.
We just saw the.
Well, we're not
ultimate socket.
Tandy.
I mentioned Chris Jurison in the chat here says, never thought that I should put a 609 on my Tano. Oh yeah, you should, definitely should. Runs
Yeah.
cooler, and you can run some of the 609 optimized CoCo 1, 2, and Dragon games. Because Karen and a few others, Perserat has actually been helping me port some of the 609 optimizations to Dragon versions. So actually, you do have some software that requires a 609 now, and plays
About-
better and faster.
What about Mission Russian Assault? Has that one been optimized?
Yes.
Wonderful.
And Lucifer's Kingdom and Gauntlet and Color Car Action. There's a few others I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
If you play the Lucifer one, then you have to play the Burn in Hell one.
That's when you play the 6502 version. Oh, sorry. All right, that's all the news I had. I'm really looking forward to trying the firmware upgrade. I'm going to try to my old SDC first. The original one I bought at CoCoFest back in like 2017 or 18. And if it works there, then I'll try it on my main one that I bought later. It's all ready to go here.
I have 3 of them. I have 2 that I use, one here and one out in my building out back, and then the other one I got set up for the
And we kept under time.
I'm purposely trying to end the show with a bit of a break for Mark before he has to host the next show. So you guys, grab a lunch or something or suppers really quick.
Right.
I only got 1 hour or so with Thomas Cherry Home. So
either way, we should give the audience a break.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's not like they can't go back and watch it later. But anyway.
Why would you want to? No, I'm just kidding.
Don't
I'd
we
like
get
to know
the
why people
bulk
watch
of
this in
our
the first place.
People
Exactly.
watch this?
the bulk of people that see this is after we've made it, maybe days later, right?
Yeah, usually.
It grows for days, yeah.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good attendance numbers lately. Maybe it's because we're talking about the Deluxe and stuff, but I saw a bit of a faster viewership uptake this last episode than we've normally been seeing.
The Steve Bjork tribute episode seemed to have quite a bit of a uptick also.
Yeah.
It's growing like a fungus.
Yeah, exactly. Some kind of mold or something, yeah.
Is that what gets in the keyboard?
Hey, Curtis.
Yep.
This is your power you have. Mikey says that the Dragon PSG replaced one on Semi Retro is gone. There were 6 available when Curtis showed it, but now there are not any more.
They're all gone.
That is what you call the CoCoNation effect.
There you go.
I get commission then, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Better than Slashdot, yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what we got in the
Carrie Shuggan, you guys can answer this, Mark and well, both Marks. He's asking in the chat, do we just stay here or do we have to reconnect to a new session to see the first seminar today?
I'm sure it'll be a new session because I haven't pre-set up anything, so it's going to create a new stream.
You've got to start a new stream and everything, right?
Yeah.
So we just meet on Twitch or something?
And have you decided for tomorrow when you got all these shows back to back, are you just going to make it one continuous stream and split it up after the fact? Or you?
Yeah, I think I'll do the streaming as one shot, but I'll try to stop the local recording on each one, so I have a snapshot for each one.
And then when you eventually on YouTube and etc., you'll split it into separate episodes, or
yeah, that'd probably be the easiest to do. So.
Yeah.
If you don't want, I can cut anything for you. So
I may leverage that, Rick.
Yeah. He's got one of those diamond tip cutters. We're good.
That's
well,
good
we've
for
got
video.
blenders, so same
so
thing.
reminder, the one session that's on tonight is it half an hour or 1.5 hours?
Half hour.
Half hour. And that is Thomas Cherry Holmes about FujiNet on the CoCo and possibly some other stuff that he's been involved with too, like the Plato.
Yeah, he said that FujiNet for CoCo won't take too long. But you can talk about FujiNet in general, talk about where it came from, and maybe
the kind of history behind it, the purpose of it, etc.
We've
and then
had
tomorrow,
Thomas
just
on
to
before.
rekindle for people here that came in, joined late, didn't catch your original presentation. What do you got tomorrow at what times? Might as well just give them all in Eastern time because that's what most of our times are.
Yep,
talking
that's
about.
what the show calendar is. So tomorrow we're going to have a bunch of ones. We'll have a couple fairly early in the morning for me, 6 and 7 a.m., which will be 9 a.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll have Julian Brown, basically the guy who has the Dragon 32 retro board. And then I'll be just doing one on something. And then I'm going to take a few hour break. And then I'll have 4 in a row. Paul Fiscarelli will be talking about the grease weasel and disc imaging. I'll have Brett Gordon. He'll talk about his various little projects that he's worked on. And I'm familiar with a lot of them. He may have some I haven't heard of, but he's got a few cool things. And then Thomas Shanks, who's a friend of William Strickland. He's got a new project called CoPico, which is using a Raspberry Pi Pico on the CoCo. And I believe it has to do with networking, but I think there's some other stuff too. He hasn't been real detailed in all the stuff that I've seen, but anyway, he's starting to set up development on that. We'll talk about that. And then Rick Euland's going to come on. We'll be talking about the CoCo IO and probably his www browser and whatever else we can talk about on
keyboard
CoCo networking. Keyboards. Let's talk about keyboards.
Mainly OS9 networking.
OS9 networking. There we go. Yes, that'd be a good one. Excellent. So 6 hours tomorrow of content. 2
and 1 more hour today.
And 1 hour today. So, and I'm really, even though I haven't got a huge response, we've only been kind of plugging this for a couple months. I'm going to keep doing this. I think Mark B and I talked about probably in about 6 months or so, we'll start promoting this again for next year and see if we can get a few more people to show up for the weekend.
First one's the hardest one, so there you go.
Yep.
Yep.
And on behalf of Grant, I should mention that he's still looking for another speaker or two for CoCoFest in May. I might volunteer. It depends on if I can get the next version of 1990 out, which I'm hoping to, because I have finally started getting back to it. And I might do a little presentation to say what all's new, what's changed type thing.
Well, what's new?
By the way, I guess Grant's having a hard time getting speakers just like I am, but I had 4 other people that initially said they were interested, but then stuff came up, work commitment, somebody got sick, somebody didn't get their project where they wanted it. So, stuff happens.
Yeah. Ken, did you want to help me if I do another Nitrous 90AU 1.01 seminar, or do you want to be in the audience and actually
He
not have to
said
worry about it?
I can help you.
Okay.
He said
You get a
we have
5
firm
bucks.
commitments from both of them.
You've got a firm maybe from me.
That's what Mark had for all of his seminars.
It's a definite maybe.
That's right.
Your chances are better than 0.
Yes.
But not by much.
Okay, well, that's all I had for the news.
The show has ended.
Not yet.
And we should give Mark a little bit of a break here to get ready for his stream tonight.
He's got like a half hour to comb his hair.
It's only an hour.
Yeah,
No problem. I mean, we have some 6-hour shows here. It'll be just, another hour with just
Oh,
a
you
little
say
break.
it's only an hour, but it could be like a 5-hour presentation.
Yeah, we're acting
not
like
like-
these
Oh, yeah.
presentations are going to be like a whole episode of the program here.
Are you accepting questions
An
from
hour.
the audience? You could be stuck for hours.
That's true. I could be.
It's an hour. That's like a trip
Hey,
to
we can
Lens
all show up
Crafters.
and start feature creeping.
Ooh,
Well, I assume like Thomas Cherryholmes actually just did a speech at VCF SoCal just last week, and I'm assuming he didn't go
He's
overtime.
got the
So
goods,
he's probably
right?
probably knows what he's doing, keeping it nice and trim.
Yeah, but
He's
he's
really
never
good
gotten
about it.
feature creep from us.
Yeah, as long as he hasn't watched our show, because we have no damn idea how to stop for 6 hours. So
the CoCoNation, we just can't stop.
We actually had Thomas on a few years ago. So when he was talking
we
about
did.
his Play-Doh and Errata Online. So
You're
anyway,
going
it'll
to
be
be
good to
doing
have
the
him back.
same thing that Mark B does when he runs the show, the same format and stuff.
I mean, throwing cats across the room. I'm not sure if he will or not. So.
Mispronouncing names and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
I
just
didn't mean
my
all
cat's
that.
sleeping right now. So.
But you're
No,
going to
probably
run the
not.
same.
Kind of the
or-
same thing. I'm using the same basic layout. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you did
But
a
it's
test stream
usually-
last night, I believe, too, didn't you?
yeah, I did. Just made sure everything worked. Like it's like, hey, all the streaming services came.
Oh,
up.
I do have
Yay.
one question for you, Mark. For people
Yeah.
that want to say ask questions or
Yeah.
comment, etc., should they be doing it through the chat, or do you want people to actually join the Zoom call if it's anybody in the panel or regulars on the panel?
Any of our regulars
for
on the
instance.
panel can join if they want to be, up front. I haven't had anybody ask really otherwise. Other than that, Twitch and YouTube work the best as far as the stuff gets echoed all around. Facebook, you can post the comments, but you don't get to see what the other people say. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to figure that one
Yeah.
out.
The reason I was asking is that some people want to do their presentation and stick to it, not have questions popping in the middle of it all the time. So I
Yeah.
don't know if maybe certain presenters had said, I don't want people live on the call
That's fine.
besides the host, or if they don't mind the interactiveness live during the presentation.
Nobody's told me so far, but I can always ask people to hold their questions, take notes, and then we'll have a
Right.
question and
Just
answer session.
don't share anyone else and put the presenter up, and there you go.
Yep.
So when
That
we
would probably
click
be
on
best to
Zoom-
hold questions till the end.
So when we click on Zoom, there would be a number to pick for that particular show. If I wanted
No,
to go on,
same Zoom.
I don't think I'll go on, but
Yeah.
No, just the same as a regular TCN
The
show.
same Zoom or
Oh,
Twitch
okay.
or
Same
whatever you
everything.
do.
Same
Yep.
password, same credential.
okay,
Yep. Nothing special. It's the same infrastructure. We already got it up and working. We know it works. So
okay.
Right.
Hey, let's
This
change
is-
it. We've got a half an hour.
Yeah, change it quick. We've got a half hour.
Thanks, guys.
This concludes another episode of the CoCoNation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things the CoCoNation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The CoCoNation show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The CoCoNation theme song, copyright 2022, D. Bruce Moore. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The CoCoNation is over. Join us on the CoCo Discord server.
CoCo forever.
All right, we're back. Okay. Is that it?
Oh, okay.
See,
Does that
is
warrant
it?
a comment, do you think, Marco? Or
yeah, just clarification. Is he talking about the normal screen like we have right now, where we have the comments along the left side and the
Well,
color
yeah,
along
he's
the bottom
saying
stuff?
all the fringes are cutting away from the main presentation. So if I was to put up a PowerPoint slide, it would only have a half the screen because of the sharing the presenter's
Well,
face on one side.
Yeah, well, one of the scenes that have built in here is one like this, where all that stuff is out and we just it goes full screen.
Right, full screen one.
Right.
So
Give,
that-
give
that
the
answers
give the
that.
presenter full screen, and then people can talk, but they don't need to have their face on.
When I've been doing the CoCo techs, I've been running the full screen a lot of times, and then I'll put the 2 or 3 people I have on the panel on a floating bar. And the
But you
people
can
that
shove
work,
out of the way.
yeah, I can shove out of the way. And like
Well, I want
some
to
of the
be
people,
on one of those floating bars.
yeah, I can do that.
But when I,
I just
do
want
that
to float
too
around.
much, when I do that too much, people complain, "Oh, the chat's not there anymore."
Right, right.
You're never
But
going
this
to
is a
make
virtual
everyone
CoCo
happy.
Fest. This is not a
No.
CoCoNation. So
Without all
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
on
In
the
this
fringe,
this
if I
particular
look at
case,
this-
I would definitely go the full screen for the presenters.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've done that in the CoCo techs because it seemed like especially like Mikey, they're running their own local OBS and they're doing their stuff locally, so they got more control over the presentation and things. So it makes more sense just to run full screen.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that, Ken?
I was just going to say that if I was doing a presentation, I'd look at the screen, I'd forget what show I was on. I might start talking about like a Commodore or something.
That's okay. I know where the mute button is.
Well, you'll just have to leave yourself a note and tape it to your monitor that what show you're on, since you're on so many.
There you go. Yeah, a little post-it right there on
Like,
the bottom of the monitor.
good night, Cleveland. No.
No, we're in Austin.
This is Anaheim. Damn it.
This is Dubai. What are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Are those...
Well, this
Alrighty.
can't be Bob Emery because there's no smoke. No.
All right, just under half an hour, the first presentation of the virtual CoCoFest for this year will be happening with Mark as your host, Mark O, I should say.
Yeah,
and then starting early in the morning tomorrow, a couple presentations, then a bit of a break till the afternoon, then 4 in a row.
That's right. 4 in a row coming at you.
That's right.
So
no commercial breaks.
Bye.
And the rest of us will see you all next week.
Yeah, push the button, Frank.
Time for the mercy killing.